Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ashland Planning Board meeting of Thursday, September 11th. A reminder to everyone that the meeting is being broadcast and recorded. I'm going to call the Planning Board meeting to order at 7:16. With us tonight, we do have a joint meeting with the Select Board who are here in person, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At 7:17, I'd like to call the Select Board meeting to order.
All right, so as I said, we welcome the Select Board. We're here as the part of the joint meeting, which would be the first part of this meeting tonight, to review and vote on two appointments. The first one is to fill an empty seat on the Planning Board. This appointment would begin as soon as the appointee is voted and sworn in, and would continue until May of next spring, when that position would be up for election. So whether the candidate decides to do that or not is up to him, but it's a nice little trial period. So we will start off with that. So the first item on our agenda is to review and vote on appointing a new member to the Planning Board. And so I would invite Paul Montesino to come to the microphone.
Yeah, you're on. Okay, so my name is Paul Montesino. I've been in Ashland since 2002. Moved here from Watertown when I got married to Sandra. And so just kind of a little bit more about myself. So I went to Boston College and got my Master's of Science from there. Did my undergraduate at Bentley and a couple other schools along the way, but that's okay. And so today I'm a director of product marketing for a lighting company. So for those of you that know anything about lighting, you have a couple of components. You have a LED source and you have a power electronics called the driver or ballast or power supply. And so as a director of product marketing, my job is to make luminaires with my customers. They come to me and say, hey, I've got an idea. Can you do this for me? And of course, with all the questions and all those things we do, we figure out what's the right approach to accomplish that. A little bit less about my work stuff, but I have just talk about the family side. So I have two kids in town. My son Brady, as some of you know, he's in his senior year in high school. He's hopefully going to be a pilot someday in the future when he gets out of the school system and starts that venture. And we'll be looking at some schools recently here that have aviation programs, so that's a lot of fun. My daughter Piper, she's a sophomore in school. She plays on field hockey, lacrosse, and the gymnastics. She's a goalie. Played against Hopkinton last night, did great, but we're always proud of our kids. They do such a great job. So for me, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to give back a little bit. I think that's kind of cliche. Everybody says they want to give back, but with my skill sets and my experience in business and understanding construction a little bit from what I know from my years and having worked at Home Depot and done lighting design for people, I have a good, aptitude for that kind of stuff and understand planning in the sense of construction planning and documentation and those kind of things. So, so I don't ramble on too much. I'll kind of leave it there and let you ask some questions that are specific.
Yeah, so we do have three questions that we did email to you in advance just to get learn a little bit more about you. Yep. And the first one was what is one project in Ashland that you feel contributed positively to the town, and in what way?
Yeah, so being here 20 years, you get to see a lot happening in the town. For me, I think the one that really resonated more with me was the public service, the police and fire department. It's a beautiful building. It rivals some of the other buildings you see across Southborough, Hopkinton, Framingham, Natick. You look at that and you say, okay, I feel proud of the town because we invested in something that's important. You were able to put two different departments together in one. It's a nice shiny building, marathon day, all the runners are coming by, the media trucks are driving by, so it really shows off the town and what they've done. Not to say the other projects aren't important, but like the high school and the improvements to the middle school and the other elementary schools, but that one to me resonated the most and what the town came from and where it's going. So that one to me is the best one.
Thank you. It was really interesting to hear. Question 2 is, how should public feedback factor into a decision for a proposed project? And what other feedback do you feel might be helpful to you and the board in making decisions?
You know, looking at question 2, I look at that as very similar to what I do today. I mean, I can't make decisions in a vacuum. I can't just take what somebody says once and say, okay, this is what I want. I have to go through that collection phase of what is it that you're specifically asking for? How do we accomplish that? And get as much information from the stakeholders, and then comprise all those different thoughts and put them on paper and figure out what is the best path. For me, in my job, I spend a lot of company money. I spend millions of dollars creating products, believe it or not, for a little power electronic that might be this big and a little LED source. Because at the end of the day, you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars developing something, you better get a return at the end. It better be beneficial to our customers, the stakeholders, as well as, you know, the people within our own little communal orbit. I mean, you know, I work for an Austrian company, not an Australian company, but an Austrian company. So they're very particular about process, making sure you collect all the data and you follow the different steps to get to the end result. So for me, it's about getting information from stakeholders and really taking that feedback and then making the proper decision based on what you've received. I'll never claim to be the person who knows everything. I want to know what I don't know and collect it, and then that'll help me make the other informed questions, and then maybe I learn something different during that process.
Thank you. And question 3, what is one particular skill, strength, or experience you have that would be an asset to the board?
Details are important. Not helpful if you just brush through things and just bypass. It's important to understand what does something mean to the next step. If I rush through, let's say, a particular product feature and I don't understand what it's going to mean to somebody using the product, well, then I created something that nobody will use. There's going to be hurdles, there's going to be pain to use that product, whether it's in software, what we call graphical user interfaces, or something that's not embedded within the product. If you don't understand what is there, then it's going to create a problem. So for me, I like to understand, you know, as much of that process. And as I said, I don't have the answers to everything. I don't know what I don't know, but obviously with the board here, everybody has different experiences and skill sets. I'll learn something from everybody and hopefully learn something from me. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, let's use what we all have and work together in teams. I mean, my company is 1,600 people from every country in the world: Russia, Ukraine, UK, South America. So working with different cultures and different people with different experiences is definitely an experience that I have.
Great, thank you. I think you met the select board very briefly.
Yeah. Randy, I did not meet, but
Maybe
I'll say
Brandy,
hello before I leave. Hi.
before the meeting started while we were waiting, and the planning board, I don't think you've met Deepa Venkat, Scott
We did meet,
Pelletier,
yeah.
and Anna Tesmansky is online. So, and obviously it's that 5th chair that we're learning to fill. So at this point, are there any other questions from either board that they would like to ask? You can ask them directly to Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Makita.
First off, thanks for raising your hand and volunteering. So a lot of the things that you're talking about, I'm very familiar with because I've been known to do some product ownership of my own in my own day. But so I think it's interesting how you're talking about how some of your product experience may translate to the board. One of the things that, as a product owner, you have to do is make decisions for difficult trade-offs. Sometimes, actually, compromise is important. Communication is important.
Yeah.
What's your process around that? You know, what are some of the factors that you take in place generally when you're trying to make those sort of difficult decisions?
I'll give you an example of something we're doing now with some products. So the tariffs have been a very big pain in our side for the company because we have manufacturing in China, we have it in Serbia, of all places, UK. And cost is very important. So we have to look at what are the contributing factors to cost. And it comes down to the design of the product. In a very simplified world with LED drivers, there are factors like lifetime, whether something is 50,000 hours that may be regulated by Design Lights Consortium out of Medford, or giving something of free value, which is a 100,000 hour product. So we can be 2 times the life, but that comes at a cost. It comes at a trade-off with internal components that elevate the cost of that. And through that process of, do we want to sacrifice our USPs or unique selling position or features that we have for the sake of 10 cents or 15 cents. And those pennies do make a lot of benefit because they do translate to, 3 and 4 times in the sell price of the product. So every penny, you may think it's a penny, who cares? But it translates to higher prices later on. So we have to weigh those particular facets of cost and determine, do we want to give that up or do we want to really compete on price? And the issues in our industry is everything's commoditized because we have a lot of intrusion from the exports coming in from the Asian markets. Before they were markets that were mostly geared towards price and lower quality, but now that quality has picked up to the point where it's hard to compete. And they can do it at cheaper prices too through a number of different factors. I won't get into those parts. But so there we have to, from an Austrian company point of view, I mean, if you know anything about Austrians and Germans, they're very particular about process, ISO certifications and all that. So as you go down that line, and I'm doing that right now with our Chinese colleagues who are designing for me today, we go through and we review those features, and I go back to sales and I say, are you willing to give up this feature, this 100,000 hours, or this functionality, so you can save 15, 20 cents? And they say, no, I don't want to do that because I have an advantage over companies that are manufacturing in Mexico for that. So we have to go back and forth and weigh those, and I'll say to them, hey, look, I'm not willing as the product manager to relinquish that, because then you're going to hammer me on the fact that you don't have a selling advantage in the market. You're going to have to be creative in what values you offer, whether it's longer warranty, taking it from 5 years to 7 years or 10 years, or sell it at a discounted price to close the deal and get the volume in the whole business side.
So how would that translate to some of the difficult trade-offs that you maybe encounter on the planning board? You kind of give I'm kind of hearing that you basically take a look at the situation, you communicate with stakeholders and try to determine the best path forward for maximum value. Would that be a fair assessment of what your overall process is? How would that apply to using philosophically to what you'd be doing in planning board?
Exactly.
Would
In
you
this
follow
environment,
the same kind of process? Or?
I think in this world it's slightly different because it's obviously a different
Of course.
stakeholders, right? It's not a product, it's more
Of
of
course.
services and what you offer. The way I look at it is, having the kind of the DNA around that type of thinking is important because it's really about the foundation and not relinquishing those parts. But as a product manager, you're in the circle of that spoke, and you're dealing with the executive management people. So to me, it would be kind of like the select board and maybe the town mayor, that kind of stuff, town manager, those kinds of things. And then you have the other people that are R&D, quality department, which would be other stakeholders within the town and contractors who are maybe saying, look, I want to build this. Okay, what is it that you're offering? What is it that you want to provide? And does it meet the goals and the requirements of the board? Are you hitting on all those touch points? You don't want to necessarily approve something because you just want to finish a meeting. You really want to, does it achieve the goals that you have set for that person who's going to be standing here after me, who's going to talk about the next best project in town? So I think it's important that, again, everything's all about asking questions, having the dialogue, and, leaning on your peers who have a little more history, because I'm obviously coming in new. I don't have the background that some of you have, so you have a history behind it. Like for me, I have 9 years in my company, so I know all of the history of everything we've done since day one that I've been with the company. And so when people say this, I say, well, we tried that 8 years ago and it didn't work and it failed because of this. Or it worked 7 years ago because we did this. So I don't mean to kind of roundabout answer the question, but I think it's important to ask the right questions. At the end of the day, it's all asking the right questions. And then if you don't have the answer, dig in, talk to the subject matter experts, whether it's somebody in the legal team in this world or somebody who's really related to the products, and you want to understand, how does this product you're proposing for this project, how does it work? What does it mean? Are there any issues related to sustainability? Is there something to do with waste or other chemicals that we didn't think about? Will they leach into something? Those are kind of things. I mean, I think sometimes overanalyzing it can be a little bit of what I'm kind of saying as well, but.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Right. Thanks for the tough questions.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Paul. We're good, Madam Chair.
Is there any discussion that anyone Any comments anyone would like to make?
We'll take your recommendation on this vote, right?
And just thank you for,
Yeah. Stepping up.
Thank you for stepping up. To be a part of this, so.
And I'd just further add that the bottom line of this whole process is that we want people on the board that will make sure that they have the best interests of the town at heart at first, more than anything else, because that's what's important, is that whatever decisions are made are going to affect this community in the long run. You know, so the stakeholders are the residents of town.
Yeah, I think from the conversations I've had with Paul, who has been interested in this since about the time of the election, so back in May, but I think you, kind of just missed the timeline in that, and so when this opportunity came up, I recontacted him and said, I think it might have been even first about the associate position, I don't recall, but I think Paul's not only his deep roots connections to Ashland, which always kind of feed in, I think, to your community, but also obviously attention to detail and the ability to deal with obviously complex projects, though in much a different way, much different than the world we have here, but that ability to take a complex project and try to figure out solutions is something that I thought would be applicable and beneficial to the board.
Great.
So
So we're ready to take a vote?
we are ready to have
Do
a
you want me to
motion?
Yeah,
I'll
you
make a
make a motion.
motion.
Please.
To appoint Paul Montesino to the planning board for a term expiring
2026, May 26th.
May 2026.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And I believe we need, so we have a quorum of both boards, so I think we need
A vote.
just a vote,
Majority, yep.
Yeah, majority vote.
a majority vote. So do we want to just,
All those in favor?
I guess that's easiest.
That's
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thanks, Joe.
The other-
Yeah. It is interesting.
So, Paul, thank you again for stepping forward and welcome to the board. I think the process from here, Jasmine, right, is that you will need to get sworn in.
Clerk's office.
And then,
At the town clerk's office, so Monday.
Yeah,
you know,
Monday.
some-
Yeah, 'cause they're
Certainly
closed.
before the next,
yeah, so before the next meeting, but as I had mentioned earlier, I would love for you to hang out for the rest of the meeting and be a part of the discussions that we have. So, thank you.
We have one other item.
We have one other item that involves the select board.
Yeah, it involves us. So on old and new business, we need to discuss and vote on the appointing of Catherine Zurich as the Precinct 4 representative on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. There's a vacancy, and Kate volunteered to step forward and do the work, and we're very happy that you came forward. Do you want to briefly just come up and just, we know who you are, but some folks, you know, on TV and at home may not know who you are, so. just-
Catherine Jerzyk, 11 Rodman Road. So I was on the planning board. I filled my term. I did not rerun, and it's actually not because I didn't enjoy it and think it's super worthwhile. It is encouraging people, and a lot of work, because you all know that. So I did not rerun because I was able to, cross fingers, a little retire before you can't do things. So I was no longer on the comprehensive plan. So there's an opening in Precinct 4, which I am, Precinct 4, and I think I'm super excited about being able to have that position, since well before that comprehensive plan committee, steering committee even started, I have been part of the process. I have not been absent when I wasn't a planning board member. There's a couple meetings I've been to, participated under citizens petition. I've recently been to all the forums that we had on that. I probably one of the biggest cheerleaders on the committee of publicizing and selling that and talking to the public about it. I have two things I would want to mention that I think it's obviously winding down. The goal is to have we're in a draft, but to have it, a draft finalized to be voted on fall town meeting. So between now and fall town meeting, there will be limited time to be reaching out to Precinct 4. Like, I do this, we have a neighborhood email list which covers, I know Facebook doesn't hit everyone, but we don't really have, the paper is sort of monthly and it, hard to get. So I do want to just disclose that I think my reaching out to my precinct, I will be very available and I will be the cheerleader to the end to get people to participate, and the second thing is at some point, mid-October to mid-November, we will be, well, I won't necessarily be living at 11 Rodman Road, but I won't be living somewhere else, if that makes sense. That was part of the retirement plan. So that's, I plan on being here through town meeting, but possibly couch surfing at some period of time between,
You're back in college,
So we
huh?
should
Yeah.
offer you a couch so that you can stay on the comprehensive plan committee.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So I just want, like, that to all be discussed and disclosed and understanding. I've been trying to think of how to get out more to Precinct 4, but I think, given that sort of the end, I think we all just do our best about publicizing, getting people, there's still chances to weigh in, get them to town meeting to vote. So that's it. I would be honored and excited to do it and welcome any questions.
Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I would just say I think this is a great way to fill that
Yep.
seat. We definitely have one, maybe 2 meetings left for the Comprehensive Plan Committee as it goes to town meeting. As Kate said, she's been there since the beginning, so to me, it's a no-brainer to appoint her as the Precinct 4 rep, since we've lost our Precinct 4 rep and Kate has been doing the work.
I'll just add, we also lost our planning board second member because we had a new member that took Kate's spot, who has since resigned. So technically, the Comprehensive Plan Committee is lacking a second planning board vote. And while that's not filled, I think Kate stepping up to Precinct 4 due to her prior planning board experience is extremely helpful
Could
in
we,
this period of a gap.
could we make the appointment Precinct 4 and and appoint her as the representative from the planning board? Like I said, there's only 2
I think
meetings
this planning
left.
board should probably, now that we have a 5th member, should probably speak, because technically, the new planning board should probably convene and discuss that, because
Okay.
in theory, we could, since we have the planning board jurisdiction, we could appoint a second planning board member as the second vote, just like the select board has 2 votes on the comprehensive plan. There is some benefit to having that full 2 from each.
Representation, sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
And now that we have a full board, we could have other membership who's interested, including Tricia, who's been in the process from the beginning. So
Okay.
I think we should reconvene on that and
Okay.
add the right agenda.
Yeah, I agree, though I'm happy that Kate can fill that hole, and that she's obviously been involved from the very beginning of the comprehensive plan, and I know it's very important to her, but it doesn't seem appropriate to step back over the line of planning board.
I don't think so.
But
Yeah.
she'll already be filling a seat, and
Yep, okay.
I support that, so.
And
I just wanted to say, I think it's great that you've continued to be involved even after the May election. So, and you were very much a cheerleader for the comprehensive plan process and have added a lot of value. And over the last, couple of years as we've been going through this. So I think it's great that you're willing to step up and even couch surf for a little while. And but I appreciate your dedication to the project, because it's been a long project, but it's worthwhile. And I think hopefully the community will be very happy at the end of this with what we're presenting at town meeting. So just thank you for continuing to be involved and wanting to continue to be a part of it. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks again, Kate. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint Kate Zurich as the Precinct 4 representative on the Comprehensive
moved.
Plan Committee. Is there a second?
All right. I was looking forward to making the motion, but I.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
No, 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 no.
You could-
No, no,
I-
no.
You
No,
happen
I
to be
think
my
it's-
voice if you would
I
like
think
to.
it's wonderful, the level of excitement to appoint Kate.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to add that I don't think it would make any sense not to have Kate as a voting member of the comprehensive plan. It wouldn't be the same without her. And my only point was going to be that there's no way you're actually retiring. I hope you understand that.
Take it from somebody who's
That's
already,
right.
yeah, you
Yeah.
don't retire, kid.
But
It
since
doesn't
we,
happen.
that's right, there's no such thing in Ashland. But there's been a motion and a second, so I think we
Yep.
can vote.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Congratulations, Kate, and thankful for stepping
Thank
up
you.
and continuing your service to town.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
One question, do I have to get re-sworn in?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Yes, because now you're going in as the precinct 4 rep for the planning board.
Yep.
okay, thank you.
So Monday morning,
Since you're going in for the comprehensive plan, do you also want to get sworn in for the planning board? We still have.
As an associate member until the election or until you leave?
Well, I can see how the
You
couch
can say
surfing
no,
goes and
it's
where we're,
okay,
yeah.
Kate. You can say no, I'm letting you.
So
yeah, it's okay
I
to say no.
I would be interested till May if we're here, and I don't think that's 100% decided. But thank you, because I would absolutely consider if we're here.
Something to sleep on.
quickly run
The
away.
lesson here is be careful volunteering in this room.
That's right. All right, great. Thank you, Kate.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn
So
the select
moved.
board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and that's at 7:20. 7:42, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in person. I
Thank you for
expected that
having
you
us.
would be online, and it's great to see everybody. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Always a
Thank you.
pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
You're good.
Thank you.
See you, Joe. Thank you. All right, so,
You want to hang out with us?
or we have more spots? You?
I mean,
You have been invited to sit with the board, the big table.
just test it out, see
Yeah.
how you feel. Try the different seats, you know.
You might decide that it's, get up there and you go, you know what, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there's no going back
I
now.
think it'd be funny if you just like move around and try different seats the whole time.
Not enough lumbar support.
And just look really perplexed and like leave halfway through.
I'll get whacked and I'll play some music. I'll do some musical chairs. No, yeah, see, you gotta, I told you the lumbar support is not.
Yeah, now that you know what it's like, you're sure about this? I don't know. Welcome.
Okay, yes, awesome.
You may not be sworn in, but you can swear if you want to. All right, not here.
All right, so as we move on our agenda, we're at item 3, the chair clerk's report. Some of this we'll leave till later. As far as the emails that have been received, there were a number of emails in support of a design review committee candidate. We can wait and talk about that under the design review committee, which is a later agenda item. There was also an email regarding the comprehensive plan. Yolanda actually had answered that one because it did go to both boards. There was also a question about road noise, which isn't really this board's purview, and Jasmine had answered that one and directed the resident to the right source. So those are kind of the kind of emails that we've been receiving over the past few weeks. Next on the, or does anyone have any questions about that or anything else that you might have seen come across the board? Okay. Next, we have public comments. It's pretty quiet, but I will open it up for any public comment.
Is there anyone online?
Just Joan.
Did Joan want to make a public comment? Does not appear that way.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Just listening in.
You get
Thank you, Joan.
special privileges because you are our only online member that we can see, or online person that we can see.
Okay.
Okay, next on the list then is number 5, public hearings. We do have one public hearing tonight that is for 117 Oregon Road. It is a cell tower for Paul. These are kind of fairly regular applications that come in to the planning board. Jasmine, do you have a minute to explain what the cell phone applications are for?
So the majority of the applications that we're receiving now are towers that are already in existence. So we're not asking to create new towers since I've been here. But what happens is these towers have certain types of different, not antennas on them, but it's kind of antennas for different sources. So you might have Verizon, AT&T all in one. And what they do is they update those antenna and the pole stays, and they submit a report about the structural integrity of the pole, that it can handle the additional weight, because obviously it's so high up, you're adding bigger antennas, additional weight, you need to make sure the pole can handle it. That by law, we aren't technically allowed to restrict wireless communications. Where these poles are already standing, we don't have to do any large inspections for fall radius and things like that. Is already done at the initial construction. So we're really just reviewing these as a replacement of the existing antenna or adding additional antenna in regard to the structural analysis.
So, and while you should feel free to participate in the discussion this evening, when we, actually, I'm not sure we'll be voting on this evening because usually we need the approval before us, but at this meeting, at least you wouldn't be able to vote. Next meeting, if that's when we're looking at the approval document, you would be able to vote on that. So,
And I'll just add, just for your information, that these are fairly pro forma, and there's federal law that makes it extremely impossible for local planning boards to prevent these types of modifications. It's a very narrow area. So the review is more pro forma for public transparency and knowledge base more than anything else. There's very rare situations where we have a say on specific design elements. We sometimes do, but generally it's regulated by the federal government how we must approve, and we have to do it within a certain amount of time, typically.
on that note, would you like to
Yes, absolutely,
introduce yourself
Madam
and the
Chair.
project we are dealing with this evening?
Yes, I'm Dominica Tatashori with Crown Castle, and thank you for having me this evening, and congratulations on your appointment. The application currently before you is on behalf of T-Mobile, located at 117 Oregon Road. This is the back of the Oregon Club.
And actually, before I make this mistake again, which I have made before, it's like I did not read it into the records.
That's okay.
Yeah, let's do that first. So I did this to you before, and
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
No worries.
Okay. The planning board will hear the petition of T-Mobile, 15 Commerce Way, Norton, Mass, requesting special permit and special permit modification per Chapter 282, Section 6.4, Wireless Communication Facilities, and 9.3 of the Ashland bylaws. The applicant seeks to remove 6 existing antennas and install 6 new antennas, ancillary equipment, collar mounts, and ground equipment. There is no proposed change to the tower height or compound size. The proposal includes the installation of 5G capable equipment. The property in question is located at 117 Oregon Road, Assessors Map 1, Lot 3800. In Residential A District. Now we can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So T-Mobile is an existing carrier at the 75-foot telecommunications concealment tower. Crown Castle, the company I work for, owns the tower, and we have an active lease with the property owner till December 3rd, 2067, so very long term. As you know, telecommunication equipment upgrades are very common and are desired as technology changes to provide better communication services for not only residents, but businesses and first responders as well. Regarding this application, T-Mobile antennas are currently located at the 71st center line. That's the very top position. and at this 61st foot center line, the second position down. And at each of these levels, there's 3 antennas per center line. So T-Mobile proposes to replace the 3 antennas at the 71st center line with 3 new antennas, and replace 3 antennas located at the 61st center line with 3 new antennas. So even swap. So a total of replacing 6 antennas with 6 new antennas, 3 each at different center lines. Other ancillary equipment includes, but it's not limited to, collar mounts, bias tees, cables, and cabinets, and radios, and diplexers. There's no change to either tower height or to the compound size. The application constitutes an eligible facilities request per the FCC's regulations, and does not constitute a substantial change to the tower, and is a by right application. The application materials that were submitted to you include the application, the construction drawings, the passing structural analysis report at 51.9%, and a compliant radio frequency emissions analysis report at 3.40%, which is well within the parameters of the FCC's federal guidelines for limited exposure. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Can you bring up the just the image of the tower? Like, these are the new cabinets that they're adding, right? But the image, I didn't even know, actually, yeah, that one. I didn't even know that there was an antenna at this location. I've been on the board, I think, 7 years, and this is I believe this is the first one I've seen at this location. So Jasmine and I actually drove out to find this, and it actually is in the back right of the parking lot for Oregon Road Restaurant, if you have been there. Yes, I did not know we even had one there. And it's a bit of an unusual tower, right? It's kind of, it doesn't look like the other towers.
No, I mean, there's various types of towers, monopoles, guy, lattice, concealments. There's so many different types. And you're correct, Madam Chair, you cannot even see it from the road. Like, when I even went to the site, you have to drive down in the back, and you get to see it on the right-hand side. So this is just a concealment tower. I'm not sure why it was permitted that way. I'm not really sure the reason, why that model was chosen. I have no idea.
So these use a different kind of antenna that can be, because a lot of them, the antennas are much wider, and these seem much narrower, kind of hug the pole, and thus can be concealed. There is no big flag on the pole that I saw.
And apparently, Madam Chair, there never was.
Right, I don't know how it would be seen hardly anyway, but okay, I just wanted to clarify there. And when I realized, or when I kind of noted that I didn't even know there was a cell tower there, I talked to Jasmine and Melissa have been working on, this is kind of the first draft, I think, that was sent out, a map of where our cell towers are in Ashland, so that we actually have them diagrammed on a piece of paper. And so we'll be kind of, like I said, this is kind of the first draft of this, but we'll kind of be working on drafts so that we can kind of keep track of where these are in town.
Madam Chair, they should probably be plotted on GIS with your town
Yeah, oh, you mean that,
as a layer.
right, yep. Yeah, so it would be good to have that and be able to just bring them up each time. So the exchange of there's a better word for it, but I'm going to say the cabinets, the things on the ground, that's changing pretty extensively as well, but it's staying on the existing pad.
Exactly, Madam Chair. So it's within the leased area for T-Mobile, all within the existing compound. There's no expansion. It's all contained.
I just have one question, and this might just be the standard language. On page 4 of the application, or the document, the radio frequency emissions report, it says, based on the theoretical modeling analysis performed, there are areas that exceed the FCC's general public and/or occupational limits at this site. T-Mobile must ensure proper mitigation is installed at the site in order for the site to remain in compliance. What is that? Because then it goes on to say that everything is below the limits.
And Madam Chair, that's a good point. That's just kind of like common verbiage they just kind of leave on. But I was in conversation with the RF engineer that prepared the report, and the cumulative amount of 3.4 is accurate. And in fact, under 5, you don't even, so if you're a line worker on the tower, if you're under 5%, you still don't even have to have protective gear on. It's when you get over 5%, then the person who's doing the changes to the tower, the equipment, would have to have protective gear. So this is such a low number.
So, but low or not, this was my question too, because page 4 says exceeds, and then page 11 says not exceed.
Yeah,
essentially,
it's not.
contradictory.
Yeah.
So which is the accurate?
It does not exceed
Does
because,
not, okay.
through you, Madam Chair, a fail is 100%,
Right.
and this is 3.4.
I just wonder why isn't that language changed? I would like to know that for our next meeting.
Yeah, and
like-
Madam Chair, like, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, that's just, like, it's like, for us, it's like, how am I voting on this that says it exceeds it, right? So if this is a typo, or if there's a nuance, the nuance should be in the text so that we understand it, because it's very
I totally
confusing.
agree, Madam Chair, yes. I believe it's more like template language that they leave in, and they probably really shouldn't. So I will communicate that to the RF engineer.
Okay. And is that something that we can, because obviously for next meeting, we will have a draft of the approval document with any comments we want, but I think that should be clarified in writing, that either page 4 is correct or page 11 is correct, right? And not leave us kind of guessing which is correct. So
Madam Chair, through you, I will ask the RF engineer to provide just a quick comment letter.
Yeah.
Just to address that.
okay. Is any other questions, either about our process or about the cell tower?
My only question is there going to be any site work that's happening? Because you have concrete and foundation details in these drawings, and there are trench details as well. So I'm assuming there's some site work that's happening because you have all the details in the drawing set.
So, through you, Madam Chair, there's no trench work. It's just basically replacing the cabling that is currently there, and everything on the concrete pads will be not disturbed as well. So there's no increase in impervious area or anything of that nature.
Is that what this drawing detail is telling me? I'm not sure. E2, drawing E2. And there's also notes that talk about concrete and foundation in the second page. But there's a trench detail, there's a conduit stub-up details. So there has to be some work that's happening until these details are not meant to be here.
Or are these just from the original build? I don't know. I mean, they're dated August 12th of this year. Or maybe that's just when they were submitted.
So the front page, excuse me, the front page T1 seems to have project description including scope of work for ground. Deepa, did you notice any of that reflecting the?
Well, I mean, on T2, I
Yep.
also noticed that this concrete and foundation reinforced steel details, notes. Right there.
Yep.
So there must be some amount of site work. Just not the antennas getting replaced.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's just verbiage that they just leave on regardless for their notes regarding the existing concrete and
There are
steel.
details drawn on E2.
Yeah.
Page 5, maybe.
Yeah, the notes are often like just standard page of structural
correct.
details, but the details themselves usually
Pages.
are, I don't know if it's just there in case they need it, So it would just be good, because there is a lot of change, there's a lot of equipment changing on that pad. I've noticed there's kind of 3 pieces coming out and a lot of pieces going on, staying in the same concrete pad, but it would be good to note, if, you know, if there's anything, if there's any concrete
Yep.
going on.
Madam Chair, it would be in our scope of work, and I can assure you that there is no new concrete, no new expansion of concrete or anything of that nature associated with the scope.
So can we make sure those details, if it's not relevant to the project, take it off the sheets?
And which detail exactly are you referring to? 'Cause
It's on sheet 2.
I think that's a good point.
Because if we are just replacing it in kind and not touching the structural, anything to do with the structure of the pole itself, we want to make sure that there are no details connected with that on the drawing set.
Okay.
Or if they're just there for reference of previous work done or something, just noted, you know, so there's no confusion.
Is that possible that the engineer can note work that is actually being done, or work that is just being referenced from something past, or a standard detail that's not really applicable to the project?
Yes, either they'll provide a comment, or we can have this sheet removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any other further comments?
Thank you.
Any further comments? Okay. So, and is there anything, at this time, I don't think anyone has mentioned, after these changes are made, there probably isn't anything that would be a special condition once we get the documentation back on those. Obviously, that might change if that data comes back differently. Okay.
And Madam Chair, just to verify, what's the next step for timelines, so I can report back to management?
So we'll send the draft decision to town council for review, and we'll have that decision ready for the board's review on our September 25th meeting. And if we've received the amended clarifying documentation at that time, and the board feels they've received all the information, I think we'd be ready to vote.
Absolutely.
And so just to clarify, Madam Chair, through you, what it is basically just a confirmation from the RF engineer regarding the verbiage that he puts on page 4 compared to page 11, and the elimination of that E2 plan, like detail.
Yeah.
Or
just-
clarification. of
Yeah,
it.
or clarification, just understanding, is there concrete work being done, or are things just being placed on the existing concrete?
Because there is a reference to ground equipment on the cover sheet, so maybe there is some work happening, and these details may connect, but maybe the details have to be just clarified, to make sure that it's not new concrete, but they're doing repair or renovations too.
Yes, and again, through you, Madam Chair, if there is new concrete work, it's not atypical for them to put that in the scope as well. So
Okay.
I'll let you know, and I'll do this prior to the 25th as well, so we can get the decision in hand and hopefully for filing, and then the appeal period and all of that, and recording.
Yes, yeah, and I don't think there's obviously, I don't think there's a problem if concrete work needs to be done. It's just knowing what it is. And as there is a restaurant right there, there may be something about, I don't know what the restaurant's hours are. I think the owner of the restaurant must own the tower as well, or
No,
the,
actually, Madam Chair, we own the tower, Crown Castle, they own the properties.
Own the
That's who we have
property.
lease with.
right, so the coordination between those two would be between them, I assume, as it's one property owner. So, but yes, so would that put us within the timeframes that are needed for this project, Jasmine?
Just verify the timeframes on that. So yes, as long as we can have our approval well within hand prior to October 13, because
Okay.
we also have to do the building permit and all of that, so
Okay.
yes.
Yes, we should easily be, ready for that, given the extra information at our next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Then we will be looking to continue this until September 25th?
I'll make a motion to continue 117 Oregon Road T-Mobile hearing to September 25th.
And is there a second?
Second that.
And a roll call vote?
Deepa Venkatai.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So we will see you in 2 weeks, and
I'll be participating by Zoom at that time,
Okay.
Madam Chair, but yes, I'll have the information prior to the meeting.
great, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, take care.
And
You should have in your packet an extension letter for Pleasant Street, or it should have been on top of your packet.
I'm already buried in my paperwork.
Right here.
Okay, continuance. Is that what's?
Yep, the continuance.
Can we still continue this one if it's not on the agenda?
Which one?
The one that you were just talking about, the Pleasant Street?
260.
Oh,
Second page.
Wow. Forget it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, so this is the soccer fields. Can you just explain, Jasmine, what's the
Yeah.
letter of denial that they are waiting for?
So typically, when you apply for a variance, one of the requirements is you have to get a
Oh.
denial letter from the building
Okay,
commissioner. So they
okay.
tell you what section you're seeking relief from, so the zoning board knows where to grant. the
Okay, so
relief.
they're still waiting for the letter so that they can go to the zoning board of appeals to ask about the gravel? Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, so that's why they've granted the extension, because otherwise this would have expired on the 23rd. That would have been the end of our 90 days, they granted us an extension, so that way we can continue the hearings, so.
And sorry, when does the extension go to?
He didn't give us an end date, he just said we're willing to extend, so. He didn't estimate a time, he just said given an extension, so if we can at least
Can I
extend
ask a
it.
clarifying question? Is this something that they're required to have as part of their application, to have a valid application in front of us? Or is it something that we are required to provide that we have not yet provided, and therefore they're granting us more time?
It's something.
That was a bit confusing to me.
It's something they will need to apply to the zoning board of appeals.
Okay,
But they are being held up by the town because they're waiting for the
Okay.
building commissioner to write that letter.
gotcha.
But he was out, our building commissioner was
Understood.
out sick for
Okay.
like 2 weeks, so.
Got it.
Now that they've spoken with him, he's been back for over a week, they spoke with him, but they still haven't submitted to the ZBA
Understood.
yet. So,
So sort of mutually problematic.
absolutely.
Both entities, the town and the applicant, are stuck.
Yes.
All right.
So there's no window deadline that we are under at the present time
No,
with them? Okay,
correct.
okay.
Correct.
So are
He's
we
waived that.
continuing to September 25th?
They would appreciate that, but no, I'm sorry, they would appreciate your first meeting in October because the BA isn't meeting on the 23rd
Okay.
because of Rosh Hashanah. So
And
we're
which
not meeting
meeting is
until the
that?
30th. So that we'll
October,
be meeting October
Ninth?
11th.
okay. I
Wait,
can-
no,
Are you not?
I think it's 9th.
Oh, it is the 9th, I'm
Okay.
sorry, it is the 9th,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so, and just, yeah, we can do that.
So I'll make a motion to move 240, 260 Pleasant Street, Metro West Facilities LLC hearing to October 9th. 5.
Second.
Thank you.
And a roll call vote?
Deepa Venkatai.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So that is continued to October, and then we have, next on the agenda is 30 Memorial Drive, the YMCA, which will be, will we be restarting that one?
No,
No.
they're just requesting a continuance because they only held the one hearing. So
Okay.
Paul, I'm gonna send you a recording and some minutes. And it's your choice if you want to read the meeting minutes or listen to the recording. But if you do that, then you can file a Mullins certificate saying that you've watched that and are up to speed, and then you may listen into the rest of the YMCA project and you may vote on it.
Even though he, because that counts as his first, even though
That
he
counts
wasn't
as his
His
sworn
miss.
first,
in.
even though he wasn't sworn in. I checked with town
Okay.
council because I've heard different things from other
Yeah.
towns, and she says it doesn't matter. They can miss the one. It doesn't matter that he wasn't appointed yet. That is.
I'm surprised by
You
that.
missed
I
a
am
meeting you didn't even
also,
know you
that's
should
I-
be at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was,
I'm
it was a
concerned,
meeting where
but
the,
that's what
where
they-
the, it was a meeting where the YMCA was kind of,
Because it would have been no
Reintroduced,
issue to re-advertise for the 25th. There would have been, or
and
the-
so it's a
the
good
9th.
introduction. It'll be a good introduction to that project. You'll see the questions we had on it at that time. And then when we see it, and when did they want to continue this to?
They would like to continue this until October 25th.
Oh, October,
September 25th.
okay,
I'm sorry.
okay,
Instead of-
September 25th. So hopefully then when we see it on September 25th, some of the questions that were raised the last time on the meeting you'll watch, hopefully will be resolved and presented here, some of the questions that we had.
Yes, so we have meeting minutes of the questions that, of the meeting, so you can either read the meeting minutes, which is faster, or you can watch the entire meeting on Zoom. You can have them both, so you can go through them.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, to watch the
Yeah.
meeting with the meeting minutes in front of you. Would probably be
Yeah.
helpful in kind of getting a real sense of what went on in that. So, and then we will pick it up with you in the,
And I
Good
can get you
seat
a
and-
set of plans if you would like. We can get you a full set so that you can review those as well.
Pick them up Monday?
You can pick them up Monday.
all right. And again, the timeline on this one is also something that you're watching, nothing that we need to worry about at this time.
Not yet, so we're good until November.
Okay, all right.
Is this continued to October 9th as well?
September 25th.
September 25th,
So
sorry,
I'll make a
yes.
motion to continue 30 Memorial Drive YMCA hearing to September 25th.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All right, and a roll call vote.
Deepa Vakata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. So that is continued to September 25th. Okay,
Could we, I'm sorry to kind of make a comment, could we get that legal opinion formalized in some way?
I'll ask for it in
Okay.
writing, absolutely.
Just in case there's a complaint later.
I completely understand.
okay. And let me just take, first of all, let me just take item 7 before item 6, because it's a shorter item. For anyone who doesn't know, Ashland Day was not going to happen this year because of not enough funds. So a few members of the select board, one of the teachers at the high school, and the owner of Anne Marie's Dance Studio, who's associated with the business association, kind of came together and said, no, we really need to make this happen. And so I want to say the first meeting was, I think it was when I was on vacation. I think it was in the beginning of August. Kind of came together, and they really had a strong showing at the meeting. And it's actually a fairly big group that's working on kind of a revised version of Ashland Day, which will be in, I think, October 4th, I think.
That's the date I had heard.
Yeah, so anyway, the reason this is on the agenda is just that they are hoping to set up a tent for town boards as a means of outreach and maybe gaining interest of people being on the board. And so they were looking for the different boards, and this will come up later, to take some volunteer hours and kind of manning the tent. I think it's Saturday,
It is
Saturday,
Saturday,
October
October
4th.
4th.
Yes, yeah. So, so anyway, that was just an announcement there to kind of keep that in mind.
It sounded like they have one booth for all.
Yes,
boards and
a
committees
shared,
that would
that's
like to
right.
come, so you'd be sharing it with other boards and committees, just that way you're aware that you get there if somebody else is there from design review or board of select board or something like that, that you're not surprised, what the heck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, we all get along.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness, yeah.
So I think, I think they'll be, getting into more depth later, but it's just kind of a heads up, yeah, and that, I think it would actually be nice to have a member of the planning board and a member of the select board and a member of the Board of Health or something there at one time, so that you can answer a lot of different questions, but But just a heads up on that and that event that will be coming. Okay. So the other item, and this is like the big one here, after Paul's appointment, the Design Review Committee structure and membership. And so, you know, frankly, the change today, I was completely surprised by. What had happened, and so what I wanted to do, well, the original thought was that since the Design Review Committee, you know, still as of now, only has 2 members of 5. They're supposed to have 5 members, and they have a slot for 2. They don't call them associate members. I can't remember what the name of it is, but 2 extra members that can fill in. But they were down to 2 members, which is not a quorum, right? So they, in a sense, even if they have a meeting, it's not a meeting because there's no quorum. So Bill Nowakowski was a member whose term had expired at the end of June. And
Who's also a comprehensive plan
yes, yep.
member, which means we just, by not being on the design review, I think he's also now not on the comprehensive plan, I think.
Oh, yeah, that did not come up in anything that did not come up in
Just a
any
thought.
email that I was sent.
I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, because I think he's the appointee. Yep. So if we want him to vote on the comprehensive plan, just something to think about.
Yeah, so what happened was that he filled out a talent bank form, and Sue Roby had some questions about how we typically handled reinstatements for the Design Review Committee. So she had sent that to Jasmine, asked that to Jasmine, but Jasmine, of course, is new, and it hadn't happened before, and I had basically was just leaving on vacation. And so the email got a little, the talent bank form and the email and the process got a little lost in, you know, in that process. So when Bill asked about, he asked Jasmine about being on the agenda, and Jasmine asked me, and I said, no, let's wait, because first I have to fill planning board seats, and I was hoping to have the associate seat filled as well. And then once we have all the members of the planning board, since the Design Review Committee is an advisory committee to the planning board, I wanted to have all the voices, you know, present, not knowing the situation with
realized it.
comprehensive plan.
I think I'm right.
So,
I think he's a member of the comprehensive plan.
yeah, so there was a little, it was just a little strange. I forwarded afterwards the emails that I had sent saying, let us take care of this. And then once our new members are sworn in, then we can discuss membership on the Design Review Committee. Meanwhile, let's talk about the bylaw, introduce new members to the Design Review Committee bylaw, and figure out as a group what kind of people, professions, expertise do we as a board need sitting on the Design Review Committee to help us in the decisions we need to make, right? And then to do the things that we don't have time to do. So, but no one really communicated with me directly. They went to Jasmine, and Jasmine said, I can't put that on the agenda because the agenda, you know, according to state law, comes through me, that I set the agenda. I work closely with Jasmine, who obviously keeps the legal aspects in a line, but ultimately, I'm setting the agenda, and it needs my approval to go out. So she said, I can't do that. I can't change the agenda without the chair being involved. And it was after that the letter came that the Design Review Committee opted to resign in full. So and that's kind of all I know about it. Haven't had, besides my one email directly to Bill, I haven't had anyone in direct contact with me about it. So, so I'm not sure where to go from from here, it was about trying to understand the bylaw and trying to figure out what we do. But now the question is a little different. So
So-
I'd like to I'd like to just open the discussion because I'd love to hear feedback from the board.
So we have a new planner, we have a new board. I would suggest we prepare a letter from our planner and our board to the folks who resigned and simply express a opening for a restart button. And it sounds like there may have been a transitional misunderstanding. That's my interpretation of the scenario. And certainly if there's no interest in reappointment, since there was full resignation, there would have to be a discussion and reappointment from scratch, then we would have to open this to the community and seek applicants, obviously. As you can tell, sometimes for planning board and design review, it is challenging to find volunteers. These are difficult positions to fill because they require time and commitment and evenings and detail. So I think the sooner we reach out to them and sort of say, hey, we have a new board now, and we are more than, we're willing to, in light of your expertise, we're willing to start from scratch and work towards reappointment. If you're interested, give them a time frame, and then at that point, open it up and tell them in the letter that, as of a certain time frame, if they're not interested in reappointment, we would open it up for the public. That would be my suggestion, and kind of start from scratch, because clearly there's some historic tension points, and we have had historic tension points and difficult conversations. And I think we have a full new board as of this moment, and we should perhaps use that as a way to restart a conversation. And I would also suggest maybe we put in the letter, if they wish to have an informal conversation with us, such as a retreat to talk through things, I would be open to that, assuming the rest of the board is open to that, because it sounds like that might be beneficial at this juncture as well.
Scott, were you wanting to, it looked like your hand was on the button.
Why don't you go ahead with your comment to hers, because I had a whole line of other questions and stuff that I wanted to.
I didn't really have an immediate response. I think it's more like just hearing everybody first and then trying to sort out what the next step is.
Yeah, so I want to, I don't understand. So Bill was done in June,
Yes, his term expired on June 30th of this year.
and then they waited till July 31st to put the paperwork in requesting that he come back into the thing.
I think sometimes people just don't easily keep track
Totally
of,
get it.
yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand timeline. I didn't mean it like a negative way. I
Yeah.
just meant like, that
Yeah.
I was just trying to understand timing.
But-
So who gets that paperwork on July 31st?
Myself, Susan and myself. Susan Roby is the.
Okay, and then where's it go from there?
But keep in mind, that was a brand-new planner.
No, totally
Yeah.
good. I'm
From
just
there
trying to,
it would
again, I'm
go-
trying to understand the
Yeah.
It would
operation
get
of things.
sent to Tricia and the rest of the board that this person is interested in this opening.
So normally it would go to all of us, and did it go to all of us, or did it just go to Tricia?
No, so what happened, it didn't go to me either. So
No, it
what happened is that Sue Roby got it, she gets the talent bank forms. And she had a question about the process, I think the question was, do they need this talent bank form for a reinstatement? Is that how the planning board does it? Because this is our committee that sits under the planning board, right? It's not under the select board, it's under us, right? So is this what the planning board does? So she addressed that question just to Jasmine. Jasmine, of course, didn't have the answer to that question because she's never done it before here in Ashland. Meanwhile, I think this was right around August 1st, August 2nd. I left town right on August 2nd, right? And so in that, it kind of, the question, got lost.
But we were in touch with Bill within a week of receiving that form. Bill knew that we were not
Okay.
having planning board meetings, that we wouldn't be able to appoint the first meeting we had in August because Tricia wasn't here, and that we also weren't meeting in the second meeting in August because we didn't have a quorum. So from at least the bare minimum first week of August, they knew that the very earliest they would get before you was tonight.
So
Right.
that was communicated to Bill? What
That was
about,
communicated to Bill.
but not to the
yes.
rest of the design?
Not to the rest of
No.
them, no, but that's not usually, that's not
Again,
usually.
I'm
part
just
of the
trying to
course,
understand,
but
because
yeah.
I didn't, it also wasn't communicated to us, so like, I
Right,
didn't
right.
know, right? Okay,
Right.
and then they were hoping that, and then they came to you today
They
or
came,
earlier
Bill
this
had
week?
emailed Tricia last week?
No, I don't think I got a direct email. I think it went, you had told me about the appointment, and
Yeah.
so I sent an email to the design review committee, and I think I sent it to everyone,
Right.
that said, hey, we have this agenda item, and I invited them to attend the meeting to talk about the design review agenda item. There was some confusion, which I didn't even see at first, that it was about Bill's appointment. And I said, actually, it's not about the appointment, because I want to fill the seat first.
Right.
But let's talk and figure out, you're still only going to have 3 members tops. How do we fill in those extra seats? Let's learn about this together. Let's figure out who we're looking for and try to get more than 3 people on the design review committee when they have a capacity for 7. Right, so, yeah, so it was then when I saw that there was, I think it was through Jasmine as well, where they still wanted to be on the agenda or were asking about that appointment. I'm like, that's not what the agenda item is for. It's a general discussion.
August 12th, I informed the 3 members on the design review committee that we wouldn't be able to do this until the 11th of this month. So I did tell them all,
Okay,
so they all were.
but we set the expectation that it would be tonight.
That, I said that we wouldn't be able to have it on the agenda until tonight, right?
Okay, so tonight would have been the minimum time that we would have been able to do it.
Right.
Okay.
But clearly, it sounds like someone on the design review committee assumed today was for the vote versus
Right.
Tricia's p- point that we wanted a full board. So here's my 2 cents, because the 3 of us have been on the board a little bit longer. There is some history here of challenges, in my opinion, in the relationship between our board and design review. We have made, in my opinion, positive steps over the last year and a half. I think we had a retreat maybe a year ago or so, could have been longer. And I think we've done a really good job as a planning board in better communication and writing as to what we need from the design review committee every single project. So to me, those are positive moves forward. I also will speak as a planning board member the last month and a half or so. We have been quieter than normal. In this transition period, it has been an unfortunate transition where we have struggled to fill our membership. And at the same time, we had a planner leave, and then we had a new planner start. So in my very humble opinion, while I respect the tension points in the history, I think a lot of this is circumstantial to major periods of transition. And I think it would work well for our new planner, being a new planner, to reach out to these individuals who've resigned, express the board's appreciation of their multiple years of volunteer experience, recognize the unfortunate period of transition, and open up the door for a conversation, either through a retreat or a request for them to reconsider, and at least not reconsider, they can't unresign, I don't think. They would have to.
Did they actually officially resign, though? Did they come in with signed sheets?
They haven't submitted anything signed yet.
Okay.
So the
'cause-
request, maybe the request can be fairly quick to say, hey, if you haven't formally resigned yet, let us know if you would reconsider withdrawing your interest in resignation. Or if you have resigned already formally with the clerk, let us know if you are willing to be appointed so that we can start with individuals who have some experience.
I mean, I wrote to her tonight. I mean, I didn't get to it till later, but I wrote and saying, come to the meeting because you're clearly frustrated. Like, there's no, like, and I kind of laid out some of the, like, we didn't even meet in August, really. Like, we had, what, a 20-minute online one on the first part, and we didn't meet at all in the second part. So, come to the meeting. Let's just have this conversation. And, I mean, she hasn't responded, but
I will
did it kind
add-
of late, so.
I think it was like a year or 2 ago where I went to the design review committee informally to one of their meetings and spoke to them. And so there could be benefit to one of our new members, reaching out personally as well, if you have an interest in that. But ultimately, again, to me, this feels like a transition challenge that we need to respectfully reach out and start from scratch
For me,
and put it behind us or try to move forward.
I'm not opposed to that, but part of this is understanding, is really getting to the real basics of the heart of the problem, of the tension between the boards. And for me, as I expressed when Kathy Rooney, the chair, was reappointed, that part of that is rooted in the respect for the bylaws. And this is, I don't think the boards, and I would be totally willing to do a retreat, but we have to talk about this and start at ground zero, right? Start at the beginning. But as I expressed at that time, this board is grounded in the bylaws, right? The things that we do. There's some, I'm not saying there's that gray area there, because there is, right? But we have to keep going back to the bylaws, which are the laws of Ashland, which the residents have approved at town meeting. And the effort that we have made in the last couple years to develop the relationship with the Design Review Committee has always been based in the bylaws and what the bylaws say the Design Review Committee is supposed to do and what their purview is. And the tension has always been, I think, rooted in that, as well as rooted between the role of the planning board, which obviously appoints the Design Review Committee, and what we as a board are looking for in advisors to our board, right? They advise us, and then we say yes or no. We make the decision as elected members of the board. And so I think there's always been some tension there about that seniority, in a way, of one board over another board. And I would love, as an architect and a designer, and I bet Deepa feels this way too, to have this other group that's looking at all the design-related things so that I don't have to, because we have enough of work to do at this table, right? But I'm not sure I'm getting that from the Design Review Committee all the time. That relationship hasn't been developed. So I don't think it's about just, hey, let's just pretend this hasn't happened. It's about, we need to go back to the bylaws. This is what the bylaws say. We can change the bylaws, but it has to go through town meeting if that's what we want to do. So it's about, to me, it might be an opportunity to say, okay, if there's something to straighten out here, let's straighten it out, but it has to start at the bottom of what the bylaws say, and let's go from there.
So, I mean, the good news is, when we have given directive in writing on project recently, I absolutely believe that we have gotten positive, constructive feedback from the Design Review Committee. I have not seen, although we have had historic challenges, as you've described, I have seen working, project by project progress, where either you or Marcelo or the two of you would prepare a detailed memo as to what we needed, and very rarely would there be something we would get back that might have a sentence or two that we don't need. Most of the time, we were getting good substantive work, in my opinion. What is it, 2 individuals who we currently have, and we can fill up to 7?
There's
Right?
3 of them. The resignation list had 3.
Three individuals resign, and we can fill up to 7 spots. So to me, there's also the reality of capacity. Unless we have people ready to jump in, we need a functional design review committee, especially with the YMCA project coming, and especially, in fact, that we have literally a seat on the comprehensive plan that is now no vote. Again, we're down a planning board member, we're down a design review member. So that's 2 votes that should be part of the process, right? To me, we kind of need to do both. We need to have a positive, constructive relationship. We need to fill this board with extra people, and we need to actually have a functional advisory committee for a big project like the YMCA as soon as possible. So I understand your point, but to me, actions speak louder than history. Meaning there's tense history, but the actions recently, in my opinion, have been substantive, because the more we communicated in writing, the more productive it got. And I would hate to lose that momentum. And I feel like we were finally making progress. And there's something about this transition moment that caused a rupture of the relationship. And I guess I'm hopeful that with a new planner and a new board, there can be an attempt for the sake of progress that we've been making. And if it fails, it fails. And I'm also genuinely concerned that we're not going to be able to fill a design review committee because we're struggling to fill our group, never mind design review, which is less recognized, more behind the scenes. They do a lot of work with very little recognition, and that makes it even more challenging to find volunteers.
What was the last thing that we asked them to work on?
That was before my time
We've
here.
done
What?
essentially on
That was
every
before I got
special,
here.
special permit, we've had them, recently, we've had their written input.
So it, like, but I guess what I'm saying is, there was nothing that was like, we weren't holding them back from meeting or working on something
No.
right now,
No.
because there's
No.
no, they
Totally
don't have
period of
anything, right?
transition.
The
Yet.
last thing they had input on, it was the soccer fields.
With start, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
we got something for the soccer fields, which are still in front of us. They provided some feedback, on that.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yes.
I do
yes.
just want to say, I do, especially with the Y coming, I understand the importance of having the design review committee. However, you do have the option to send out for a third-party architectural design review that will just focus on design elements based on our design criteria
That
in our
costs money though,
bylaw.
right?
I'm sorry?
That costs money.
For the applicant. The town doesn't pay it. It's a peer review, so the applicant pays it. So that is something that if we don't feel that we are capable of getting a functioning design review committee in time for the YMCA, we certainly
We have
have
that
that
alternative.
ability to reach out for peer review design for an architecture firm. I think DSK was one of the firms that Peter Matchek had reached out to. He was going to use them for 61 Waverly, 10 to 60 Main Street, until we had another committee formed for that, but that is something that is in your wheelhouse. So if you don't have a design review committee, you can still get that design done, at least for your larger projects. I know it's not ideal, but you won't be up a creek and having to do all that entire design of that building by yourselves.
I think, thanks to the committee for whatever they've done for last few years, but I think it's a two-way process. It feels like these letters and resignations and the emails that came about last few hours does not feel like it was a two-way communication. It's very obvious that our board has gone through transition last few months. It's right out there in every meeting that we are going through. So I think they should have come half the distance to kind of understand the situation. It feels like if they're operating on that hostile thing all the time, it doesn't feel like a collaborative approach to things. And if this means, I think we are grateful for all that they've done so far, but if this means it's a fresh start to that committee, I don't think it's a wrong thing, because I don't know what efforts were put in by the committee members to increase their board, right? They had 4 seats open for I don't know how long now. I don't know if there were applications. They reached out to members in the community to join their board.
It's on them. They're technically our advisory board. I don't think
True,
it's on
but
them.
it doesn't stop us from kind of having somebody to come on our board, kind of come in front of the planning board to kind of interview. Nothing stops anybody to do that. I don't think that effort has ever been done. I wouldn't buckle with the YMCA in the pipeline, but I feel like this is also an opportunity to have a fresh start, find the right team, because I, in my professional work, have been associated with a lot of design review boards outside our town, and there's like a lot of talent in that, because this amount of wealth of knowledge that they can really support the planning board is amazing. So I think it will be a good time to see if it's time for a fresh start, because I know, Trisha, I've been on this board for now 5 years. And you have, from the beginning, wanted the design review board to be part of planning board. It was a collaborative approach. It was not like that before you started, but you made all your efforts to kind of make this happen, but it has not been a two-way street. So
I do appreciate that because I want to say there was a meeting maybe 6 months after I first joined the board, where the then chair of the design review committee was an architect. He's not on the board anymore, or obviously hasn't been for a long time, but came to this room and talked about the design review committee. And I was still new. I really didn't know anything about the design review committee, except that I, at that time, was the only designer on the board. And so I was thrilled that there was this thing called the design review committee and that they could really work on design. And Peter Matchik at the time, who was the town planner, who was new like I was, and we were really determined that we could build this into a great collaborative committee. You know, the two boards and committee would work together. COVID hit shortly afterwards, and though it got a little debunked, by that, but the effort still went forward. And I was actually, a number of the, I want to say, 2 or 3 of the design committee members that I personally reached out to, saw it, and got them interested on that committee. But for some reason, it just doesn't, and maybe it is a personality conflict, but it just has not come together to be the collaborative, like the collaboration with us in the select board. I feel like that's how it should be, but it's never gotten to that point, and I really don't know what to do.
So here's the reality. They've resigned, period, right? So
It's not
without
official.
official notice. So there is a middle ground between what I'm saying and what the two of you are saying, and obviously, gentlemen, speak up. But my thought is there is a middle ground. Looking at design plan review section 9.62, right? We can see very clearly what kind of experience we should have per bylaw. Where possible, permanent members shall have experience in the field of architecture, landscape architecture, or engineering, and one person owning a business in town. So we don't need it to all be designers. We need it to be individuals who are capable of design and who potentially have a business interest in town, right? So ideally, and we can have 5 members and up to 2 alternatives, so it's 7 total. My suggestion would be, let's move forward. Let's find a middle ground to what I'm saying and what both of you are saying. We want a fresh start. We're not closing the door. These individuals have not yet resigned. Until they turn in those pieces of paper, they're still design review committee members, right? We haven't fired them. We haven't done anything like that. So it's up to them to actually go to town hall and turn in that piece of paper, and it's up to us to fill the remaining seats until that happens.
And note that that's just 2 of them, because like Bill's term has expired. So
Understood.
Okay.
2 of them, sorry, 2. So as of this moment in time, we have 2 members who have not yet fully resigned, and we have 5 seats open. So how about we post for the 5? We actually create an advertisement and put it out into the town manager's newsletter and put it on the website, whatever we can do, and let's seek out these individuals in town. Let's reach out to the business association, see if we can find a business owner. That's what the bylaw seems to indicate, who might be interested in being on that group. Let's see who within the business community might have other ideas. Let's reach out ourselves. And if these 2 individuals don't formally resign, they can choose to stay on. I still believe some type of letter to them would be beneficial, because I think that there's something that happened here that, again, I understand the personality conflict and the history, but I also feel like transition was really tough. When Peter left, that was tough for this board. We really had kind of a gap, if you will, in our functioning, and then we had multiple missteps in membership, people joining and then leaving, and then new planning. There's been a lot that I don't think has anything to do with the past. It's just a bad time. And that to me seems like we should take some middle ground a little bit. So again, I like the fresh start concept because maybe the personality conflict needs to be put behind us. On the other hand, they have not turned in that piece of paper. And that tells me something too.
Anna, did you see Scott's email that he had sent them today at 4:30?
No, not that one.
Do you mind if I read it, Scott? Is that okay? I thought it was very polite, and I think he just did exactly what you recommended, extending the olive branch. So he said, I understand the frustration, but would ask that instead of resigning, you come to the meeting today and meet with us. The request was sent on July 31st. On August 1st, Camillo resigned from the planning committee. Our next meeting was August 14th, and we had no agenda because all the people who had projects asked to have them pushed out. We only had 3 of us on the call, and Tricia wasn't one of them. Our next meeting was canceled on August 28th. Today is the first meeting back, and Tricia has it scheduled to talk about design committee after we decide on our possible new member. As a new member myself, I don't know much about your committee, and while we've had a lot of emails recommending Bill, I still don't really know anything about what makes a good design committee. Again, I understand your frustrations. Clearly, your expectations have not been met. Please come and meet with us, and let's see how we can all improve our partnership. So that, I thought that was well written, and I think that spoke the true sentiment of what you were saying, and we haven't received a response yet. So do you want to
I mean, I
reach
think
out
that letter, I
additionally?
think that letter may be sufficient.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because it sounded
Yeah,
exactly
I'm
like
fine
what
with
you were
that.
saying.
If that's already out there. I'm also suggesting we actually take action and start filling the
That,
seats
I'm completely on board with that.
and not wait anymore.
Do they have to, just like the planning board, do they have to be members of Ashland to be on
Yes,
that
Yes.
they need
design?
to live in
They do.
Ashland.
Okay.
They do.
They have
So
to
for me, I
residence.
mean, I have their.
They don't need to be these types of people. This is just suggested by the bylaw.
They
It'd be
don't-
great if
Yeah, they
are.
don't need to be that type of people, but I think the point is, to me, the point of the bylaw, and this, I have talked to the women, the 2 women who created the design review committee all these years ago, right? And the point was that when there is this board without a single designer, and remember, when I came on the board, I was the one, I don't remember who was here before me, I think it was more of a contractor, so at least I have a foot in that world. But when there is a board where there's not a single designer on the board, the design review committee is there to be the design voice. That's their job. So when you know, so to me, I'm very hesitant about filling those positions, as hard as it is, with just people who have an interest kind of in architecture, or people who kind of sort of have an interest in how things look. I'm looking for expertise and professionals there, you know, in those seats, because they would need to provide all of the design input to the board if there's no one here sitting who can offer that. 'Cause
But right now, we do have 2 people here who are,
I
right?
know, but
And the
those two-
bylaw also suggests a person owning a business.
Right, Hannah owns the local business.
Yep.
I guess Kathy does too, right?
But what I'm
Hannah's
saying is,
brick and mortar.
there is some flexibility, and
I'm-
capacity is a major problem. I'm telling you, finding 7 good people who are all designers is going to be hard.
I'm not looking for 7, right? And
So-
I get that it would be hard, but if the input that we need isn't capable of coming out of those members, what is that doing for anybody? Talk about tension, about a group trying to provide input where they don't have the expertise to do it, and we having to say, well, thanks, but, yeah, that's the hard part, I think, in this.
And I think the change, Anna, that you just mentioned some time ago, that there was, that we literally looked at the reports and really followed through, was because of the design strength that was part of the design review committee that was for short-lived, unfortunately. But it definitely was a different output when that design strength was part of their committee. It was not that before. Unfortunately, we haven't seen projects after that group left, but that design strength showed in the reports that we got.
Yeah, to be clear, I think it's great to have.
very important for
yeah.
that review board
I
to
think-
have people in this profession, because that's the strength we need.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to look at colors, we don't want to look at the architecture as planning board. If we don't do that, somebody has to do it. And if that board is not well equipped to do that, that's why we started to do it, right? We had to shift that focus, unfortunately, here, because at some point we became design heavy and that group was not. Landscape is one portion of design, it's not the portion of design. And I think that chemistry, until that changes there, we have to unfortunately be strong. But if we can't have both boards have no design experience, and that's going to get us into that same late night hours of hours together trying to clean up design.
Yeah, if the design review committee doesn't have the kind of professional design expertise, I think it's an outside third-party reviewer, because otherwise you still don't have any design expertise. It's not supposed to be just groups of citizens, can give us their, public feedback at any time, right? We can listen to that, but that's not what we're looking
I
for
think the
here.
bylaw is crystal clear as to who should be on it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we need to argue about. I think we're all in agreement. What I'm saying is let's stop we know what we want. Let's start to actually post for it. Let's ask people. We already know some design individuals. Marcelo still lives in Ashland, right? Perhaps he's interested, or others that we know. So let's do our legwork and ask around. And see what we can do. I'm just outlining a person owning a business is right there too.
Right.
So I think that there can be value add to someone who is a business owner who understands what Ashland looks like and what it should look like. And but I'm all for the rest as well. Finding these people is going to be hard, and we should try.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that I think, that I've been thinking that that should be asked, that I know who live here and who are designers. I haven't done that yet, partly because obviously for months it's been overwhelming with planning director, assistant planning director, board members. It's been nonstop, and trying to fill positions. But the second part of that is I think having a fresh start, that these voices are coming into, I would think, and it doesn't mean that people that have been on the design review committee can't still be on it, but I think that committee needs a fresh start so that we can reinvent the relationship between the design review committee and the planning board. They can reinvent the structure of that committee so that voices are, I'm not sure, because I didn't, I have watched some of those meetings, but I haven't watched a lot of those meetings about how that happens. I think in some ways there was not a lot of guidance about how to efficiently get through the tasks that they were given, that landed on them, which are, like us, dealing with big projects, and how do we start to break that down in an efficient amount of time? How do we deal with an applicant respectfully, and efficiently? So in a way, I think there's a learning aspect of it too. It's a big task, but I'd certainly be willing to put out some feelers to see if I can.
The other thing I would suggest is a zoning bylaw change to this, very subtle, which is right now it's an appointment for an initial term of 1, 2, or 3 years, and then you can reappoint for 3. Knowing the challenge of capacity, I wonder if we should add to this the possibility of appointment for projects, meaning you have a roster of people who may not have the time or commitment. I'm thinking of someone like Marcelo, who may not be interested in a 1-year appointment, but Marcelo might be interested in the YMCA project. So I would suggest a shift to this, or a change, to add an element of potential appointment for a project and the creation of a roster of individuals who, again, are busy, successful, have 0 time for a 1-year appointment. Just throwing that out there. And that might give flexibility.
That's a really interesting idea, because I think to have, like you said, a roster of, that you can see who's, okay, we need 3 to 5 people, you know, that are interested off of a 10-person list. I
And there
think,
could be excitement. Someone like Marcelo, I mean, I worked with him long enough that I think he would be thrilled by a YMCA project rather than a year appointment.
right, and in fact, for the 10 to 60 Main Street, the ZBA, I don't really actually know how it happened, but Marcelo and a designer in town named Glenn Travis, who has an office, and there was one more person on that who's
Ed
Hart,
Hart.
who's not a designer but knows Ashland, I think,
Ed
backward and
Hart
forward.
from the Finance Committee?
Yes, I
Yep.
think so, yeah.
Yep.
The 3 of them kind of formed a little group, were asked to form a little group to advise on the design of that building, which then that, you know, it's informal,
Perfect.
but,
Yeah,
so
something like
it's
that.
a similar kind of task-oriented, you know, kind of thing. I think that's a great idea. I don't know, you know, maybe we'd have
I mean,
to,
can we do it for fall? If we can make a slate, I can send you a sentence. It just needs to be, you know, in addition, the planning board could appoint could create a roster of individuals to be appointed for specific individual projects based on availability, interest, and expertise.
If you could
That's
send
it.
me a
One
sentence, that would
sentence.
be great. Town council's in every Wednesday.
And
So I could have
let's
her
see if we
review
can
it
draft it up.
Wednesday, and we could get it on for special town meeting this fall.
I know you guys are still, you know, still learning about this, but yeah, do you understand these two methodologies maybe? And do you have any questions about how that might?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna get people who are more excited about looking at the Y than at a soccer field.
It's okay. They
that-
might be a
well,
soccer dad or soccer mom.
No,
who's all
no,
about
totally. I just
soccer.
meant like I think you're gonna have
cares less
more
about the Y.
options to fill with when you say, hey, we got a school project that, you know, is really impactful, and you get to, you know, you might get more people raising their hands for that type of scenario. So it's a great idea.
But it's also like making a call that where do we need design review board to weigh in, right? We don't need everybody to weigh in on every project that comes across.
Cell phone towers.
So it's like, so I think it has to be a little more strategic, and I think I am part of a project where they do exactly that. They have a group of people, and each one kind of looks at a different project, and that keeps the change in town. You're not bogged down by that commitment. I think that's a fantastic idea.
But it also allows flexibility. So let's
Yeah.
say somebody tries it and they fall in love with working with us. We're just so fun, obviously, to work with. And, you know, we're impressed with their communication style with us. What a great way to kind of test out the working relationship. And then we can say, hey, we like to appoint you for a year. How do you feel about that? And you can essentially build the design review committee that way. You can sort of create it over time.
Yeah, and I believe, it's not in this section, but in this section, I'll have to look at this, but I believe there's also something in here that, in kind of reference to something Deepa said, that the design review committee actually always doesn't even have to be engaged. It's when
When we need them.
it's kind of when we need them, and I think that's already in the bylaw, but it doesn't seem to be in this section, so I'll have to look at where that is. But I think this is a really great thing for someone to be able to say, you know, I can't do it right now, but I could probably do the next project. Or even something like a soccer field, like maybe that would only need 3 people. Maybe you want to make sure you have one of the landscape people and one, you know, and then a bigger project like the police and fire building, you might want 5 on that, you know, something that complicated, or the YMCA. If
Well, you
get
can have
that.
a talent bank form which kind of looks out for interest in commercial buildings, municipality buildings, and then have that group available
Yeah.
on call. I think you
Yeah.
can divide it into project types, open kind
Yeah,
of.
like
game,
we're
soccer
seeking
fields and
to
things like-
create a
Yeah.
roster of individuals in these areas with, you know, no big obligation.
Yeah.
To call upon you
Yeah.
for specific projects. I mean, it could also be kind of fun in the sense that when we have an exciting project or a soccer field, all exciting, you know, it also gives us as a planning board an opportunity to kind of throw it out into the community. Hey, the planning board has this cool project. We need an engineer and architect to help design. So,
And even something like a soccer field, you might be actually looking for a different specialist, like someone who who coaches soccer or something, who knows about the program.
Designing a field.
Yes, in a way that like,
Sure.
I don't know anything about soccer fields,
Yeah.
frankly.
Is there any reach out to the athletic programs to ask any assistance for soccer program, for example? Because a lot of great ideas are thrown
So
out there.
that's what we could do. When
think a
we're
lot of
design,
people
when
are-
we're working on a soccer project, we could reach out to them and say, we need
Advisor for this
we need
project.
somebody who's
Yeah.
obsessed with
I know a friend of
fields.
mine that is in Bellingham. He's coaching ninth graders right now. That's not his age group for his kids, but he's doing it because he loves the game of soccer. So there might be some reach out to say, hey, you guys on the softball or soccer field, coaches, can you give us 3 months of,
Yeah. Lend your expertise.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
we
it.
don't know, we need to know about a soccer field.
Yeah,
Tell us what we should have.
yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Could we have guest members? I mean, do they all have to be, I don't know if it's like
I mean,
totally within Ashland, but could we have 1 out of 5, for example, from outside?
I would say no.
Anybody that and that is on a committee or board
Yeah,
has to be a
local.
resident.
I don't think that's gonna be difficult to find if we make it
Yeah,
flexible.
yeah.
And we add that sentence of, that we have the right to appoint somebody for an individual project, I think we'll be fine. I think that's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Would we still, it would be too late to get it in tomorrow, but would we still like to post in the town manager's newsletter that we have these openings
I
and
think
that we
it's
would
still a
like
good
people
idea.
to
Yeah,
apply?
yeah.
Perfect.
I think we should keep that going. I'm curious also about, does the town have a list of peer reviewers that we would say that here are a bunch of people that we would recommend, hey, architects, get it peer reviewed? Because
I could
it's
give you a
not like
list.
they choose. We have a pre-selected list typically, correct?
I could give you a list of architects for you to choose from if you would like. If you would like to review their qualifications, I could get them each to give you a small portfolio of projects that they've reviewed. So that way you can see who you would like to work with, since this is the first
I
time.
wonder
that
if
we've
we
been
should
doing-
line that up as well.
You mean for the why?
By the time we have this group kind of settled in, if we need for the Y, which is right around the corner, if we should have that lined up as well.
I think we should definitely have a Plan B.
Yeah,
I can have that
Do we
list by
collect
the
any data from the
25th.
census?
yeah.
I'm always asked, what is my role, what is my job in the census, and I send it in for the town.
I don't think we have access to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's confidential.
No, it might be,
I don't think so.
no, it's probably public information. That would be a question for the town clerk, I guess.
I don't think
You
it's
can file
connected
a
to
Freedom of
like
Information
emails
Act.
or
I
phone
don't
numbers.
think so. I
No.
don't think so. I
No.
think it's just,
No.
it's just there.
But I think, so,
There's the power of Google. We can find some architects in Ashland or engineers.
Absolutely.
ChatGPT all the way.
yeah, what's this, it's the, yeah, there's professional means by which
Yeah.
you can, like, I can find them. That's what I did before. It's how I found Marcella. you know?
Right.
And
So-
again, Marcella is a great example
Yeah.
of somebody who may be interested in a large project.
Which he
come in.
already has done, even after
Yes.
leaving the planning board, he served in that capacity, you know, in that way, he was still able to do that, right?
Who was our associate member who had engineering background? Am I
Kevin
imagining-
McLean.
Okay.
He-
Do we
he-
want to reach out
he
to
was
Kevin?
It'd be a nice one to be on the
Amazing.
list.
Okay.
Do we wanna
I
reach
haven't
out
met
to Kevin
so
for that?
Kevin McLean?
Yeah.
Kevin, yeah, he was into like highway design
Yeah.
and big structure kind of
His
design.
kid's now 2 years old, so he can come back.
Yeah, that's right.
Just bring him, just bring him. Yeah.
Yeah,
I also
this is-
wonder
this is a
if,
good idea.
former planning board member, when I joined, Joe Robertone. So I don't remember his background, but he definitely had some intense experience with planning and design.
He's mostly in financial end
Finance,
of things.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. But the business association may be worthwhile to reach out to as well and just see if there's business owners who might have interest in being on a roster.
We do have, so we have the Ashland Business Association email listing, so I can actually, if we
Ask
have some
them
verbiage
if
put
they have-
together, I can actually
We'll
just
give
send
them
an
the
email blast
same, the
just to the
same ad.
businesses.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this because I think, I think it's a much easier ask for architects and designers and landscape architects to,
One project at a time.
yeah,
at
to
their
do one
capacity.
project at a time and there's shorter meetings.
Yep.
It's a shorter time frame.
Yeah.
So to be kind of clear and efficient, I think what we're doing is we're creating a paragraph that basically says the planning board is doing both things.
Yes.
We're looking for to fill these seats, which could be an appointment starting a one-year term.
Right.
And if you're not available for that appointment, we're also looking to create a roster for individual project appointments.
Right.
These are the kinds of people we're looking for. Take it right out of here.
Yep.
And that's what we're posting. That way, we're kind of getting both birds
I'll
with one
send it for
stone.
review before we send it
Yeah.
out, because I can't
Yep.
send it for the
Right.
town manager's
Yeah,
newsletter
that's
until next
fine.
week
And I can
anyway.
also give you a sentence to amend the bylaw,
That
which
would be
you'll show
perfect for
to legal
town
counsel.
council. Yes,
And that will, I
please.
think, that will take care of it efficiently.
I'm a little confused how we'll do both at one time. Like if we appoint members to this design review committee that we've had, how do we also then have a
A roster.
A roster. So-
I mean, I guess there could be like 3 permanent members and.
So let's say
Right.
you get an incredible person who says, yeah, I want to be permanent for a year. What I'm saying, we can have a hybrid model. You don't have to have one or the other.
Yeah.
We're going to amend this to create the possibility of either one, meaning somebody comes along that's perfect for a one-year appointment, we appoint them. We start to create a permanent board, right, over
Yeah.
time. If we don't need to, we don't have to go to the permanent board, right? We have a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
We can literally say, well, we want to pull from the roster, as long as the bylaw says that. So I guess I'm suggesting there's a hybrid position, so that as these individuals get experience and fall in love with the work, we could essentially build a permanent board.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can wait and see. I'm kind of interested in maybe just have like the ongoing roster.
Yep.
I think without having a permanent board.
That's fine.
Anymore,
But
but-
you want the flexibility, though.
Yeah, I just don't know how the transition happens because, because
Yeah,
maybe
you
it
don't.
won't pass at town meeting.
Then you won't
maybe-
have
Right.
terms.
we have a
That's
lot
what I
of-
mean.
Also don't
yeah.
want to create two groups.
That's what I'm saying.
Or maybe it
But it's
turns
up
out
to
that you
us.
have an appointed group, but they're on a rotation. That,
can't
yes,
the-
you might be on design review committee, but you won't do every single project that comes before you.
So
You'll
here's the
do-
thing, you
But-
leave the
but-
jurisdiction with us.
Sorry, Scott
Yeah.
was going to jump in with something.
Why can't the other non-permanent, like, couldn't those non-permanent members be the 4, 5, 6, and 7 that are on that list? Like, couldn't that be the roster of people?
It could be.
Or could we like appoint them for 3 months or like?
Well, then they get tied to the schedule of a review board, right?
Right, but
That-
if in your verbiage change, you changed it from 1, 2, 3 years, and then a second round of 3 years, couldn't you just do it as needed? You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
I was
you
gonna,
could-
I was
you
gonna
could
leave the
appoint
language
somebody-
as is and just add a sentence that the planning board can also appoint project-specific.
At least for a
Based on a
stopgap
roster.
measure. So like to get us kind of through.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Just to give
But
flexibility.
if somebody was on the design review committee and they're really excited to be on it, and then all of a sudden we went and appointed a whole bunch of other people to go work on some project, and they didn't get to work on the project, or can we point them also to the project? That's all. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure, like,
Yeah, I get
why
what
would
you-
you want to be on the committee if, like, they're going to take all the good ones and give it to
Yeah.
the
But I think,
other people?
I guess the suggestion of bylaw change I'm giving is a flexibility one, where we, as a planning board, get to decide what's best for us. Right now, we essentially have no capacity. We have no individuals right at this moment that are interested because they've resigned, right? I'm just suggesting, based on my experience, this is not easy to do, so
No,
giving the
I like your
board.
idea. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, if I joined the design review committee, because I was excited about doing these, and then you picked from your roster the other people to do
Yeah.
the why, and that's what I wanted to work on, and I
It might be
don't get-
offensive,
yeah,
but
I
we
wanna-
as a planning board can strategize and make sure that we don't do that.
Yeah,
that
or
we-
just say,
yeah.
can we also appoint somebody that is on a committee?
Right.
That's okay to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or,
Okay.
or there's, like I said, there's 3 standing members.
And then you can rotate
And then
your
the
your
rest,
others.
we handpick off the
Yeah.
roster to be best for the Y or to be best for the soccer fields or whatever, along with the 3 standing members or, but I think it's a kind of a transition that we're kind of testing out, like what would be good, but I think that this idea of not having to have all those full seats all the time, which is really hard, and maybe no one will want those seats, in which case we'll just have a roster.
My
that way.
suggestion would be, small bylaw changes are really effective, and flexibility is where you want to
Yep.
start.
Yep.
Because if we start to create the perfect bylaw, it's not going to happen for the fall.
I agree.
All right, so you're gonna write it up and
my
you'll-
suggestion is, let me leave this language as is and just add a flexibility sentence that allows us to create a roster. We play with it for a year, we figure this
Yeah.
out, and in a year, we can perfect it into the most beautiful bylaw of all time. I think if we start with beauty, it's not gonna happen.
I agree.
We just need humans right now on individual projects. That sentence will give us that right.
So are these starts and stops delaying these projects from moving forward?
No.
No, not because they're both in doing things with other boards that some ducks they need to get in a row before they come back to us. But it won't be long, right? It
Right.
won't be long.
The 25th, really, we'll hit the ground running.
Yeah, so there still may be an option where we need a
Architectural
third-party
review, peer review.
consultant, especially, I don't see needing it for the soccer fields, but for the Y.
But for the Y, that's a
That might
huge
be,
project.
might be something we need, so, to get us through.
Sounds like we're wrapped up on this piece. I just wanted to circle back real quick on one other note. I feel like the email that came today was fostered out of miscommunication, right? Totally legitimate reasons. I don't think anybody in the world meant any malice out of anything of the miscommunication, right? We had new planning board members. I had no idea what was going on. We had new planner, new assistant town planner, like a whole bunch of things. So what I would like to say is, or hope is, from this point forward, do you think we can open up our communication to a broader, because I know sometimes you communicate directly with Tricia, and I think sometimes you also might feel like you have a lot on your shoulders because it gets directed to you. Now, I don't want to break any rules where we can't, because I know we can't talk about a lot of things, especially over emails with reply all and whatnot, and you'll learn about this. But it would, if we, maybe a communication that goes out like, hey, this has been submitted or put out or whatever, don't reply all to this, this is just a informational piece, and then if we need to communicate to one or other people, then okay, but I feel like I've been kind of in the dark on a lot of things, so I would like, and obviously, whether, I don't know the backstory on the people that quit, but it clearly sounded like there was a communication issue, so I want to make sure that we kind of open that up to be more communication forward, if
So
that's
we have a
possible.
new board, right?
Right.
So right now Tricia is both the chair and the clerk. I mean, in theory, we could discuss some reconfiguration of the board, and if, we could create new roles as well. So if there's a member here, a new one, or someone who's been here who wants to become the liaison communicator with the design review roster, for example, that's something we could discuss as a board. There's a lot of flexibility now that we have full membership.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this today, because Scott and I talked earlier in the day, not about the design review committee stuff, because that hadn't happened yet, right? But just about really communication, like in general, right? And, because it has been as someone who started on the board earlier, in the spring, it has been a very weird spring and summer in our schedule. And so it definitely makes sense after he talked about it, that like, yeah, I guess you wouldn't know what is going on.
Right.
And meanwhile, to me, it has been a crazy busy summer, constantly trying to fill these seats, zillions of conversations, trying to, get it all together. And so on the one hand, sending every communication, though it's all public record, if anyone wants to subpoena it or whatever the word is, every communication with me and Jasmine would almost be, would be kind of crazy, because literally it's sometimes, Melissa, there's a typo. Jasmine, can you tell Melissa there's a typo? Right. There's a lot of that, but also it puts me in a position where I have to make sure, like if the planning board is a part of my every email, I have to make sure in all of those emails, which are dozens, right, I never express an opinion. Right? Because expressing an opinion, that going out to the board is where the no-no is, right? But on the other hand, so the daily thing I don't think makes sense. On the other hand, there has to be some kind of,
But if two people are having an opinion, as long as you're not discussing it with a third, you're not creating a quorum.
no, but if I'm sending it out,
If she sends out her opinion to the entire
to the whole board,
now she's
now I have
broken
to be,
open meeting law.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if it's all just like this constant little,
I don't think it's necessary for the entire board. I guess what I'm suggesting is if you have specific interest in improving our communication style as a planning board, you could work more directly with Tricia on specific things that you're interested in. I'm just saying that we now have a full board. We can kind of reconfigure how we do this so it's not all on Tricia.
Yeah, I'm more saying that I don't know what's happening.
And I think you
Because-
and I should have a talk. I think you should come in so I can establish your role here and how the board works. And then I would like to do a director's report and make sure we get everything out the Friday before a meeting, so you have a full week, almost a full week to review it. But I can just give a director's report, just going over, hey, this is
all the
kind of the
stuff that
stuff that's happened this week, this is where we're at,
Yeah.
this is where the projects are upcoming, this is what we're expecting to see. To include everybody on more communications, it's just not the way it works. And I know that's difficult to understand, and I will never withhold information from anybody, but there is a structure of the board for a reason. And Tricia is the chair is who I communicate, and then the chair and I will communicate to the rest of the board the information. So I'm not gonna, every talent big form that comes in, I won't just forward it immediately to the board. It just creates chaos, and it makes it very difficult for me to manage what's been shared and what hasn't, if I'm sending out multiple things to multiple people throughout the week that I have no idea. It's very difficult for me to keep track. Have I sent you this? Have I not? So if I can send it once a week or once before the meeting on a Friday with a director's report, just an overview, that I do think just having a frank conversation about the role and the board's role and how things are done would be very helpful. We also have upcoming Citizen Planner Training Collaborative that's going to be opening up trainings in October that I'd very much like to invite all of you to. The town pays for it, but they do things like what is site plan review, what is special permit, how to write an effective decision, what is open meeting law, because these are things that it is very important for you guys to understand, but we do have to keep that semblance of structure within the board in order for us to maintain the workflow as it goes.
The other thing is, she could, in theory, become an agent of communication between us, which would violate open meeting law. So if the two of them are having a discussion and Tricia shares her view, and then Jasmine tells me what Tricia says, and I discuss it with you, we've created a quorum, which you don't want to do that's bad.
So
So it's tricky if Jasmine starts communicating with all of us.
is a director's report something you've done in one of your other positions?
I've done it in most of my other
Okay.
positions. So
So,
since I've
which
been a
is-
director, I've done director's reports with every board that I've been with. That's just a general
Yeah, so if-
top-down overview of,
So on the Friday before a meeting, we get an email, typically from Melissa, right? That would say, hey, here's a link to the soccer field information. Here's a link to the cell tower information. Here's the meeting minutes from last time that you need to review. That's more just informational. You're talking about something that maybe goes out every single week,
Yep.
whether we have a meeting or not. Sometimes there's 2 weeks between meetings that says, hey, this is what's going on this week that you should know about. So there would not be any gaps of this whole summer of information. And whatever Jasmine and I were trying to figure out, hey, we've been trying to get someone in this seat, or we've been communicating with the select board about this issue, Jasmine can summarize that and get it out to the board. So it's like, hey, this is what's been going on behind the scenes,
right.
as we try to, does it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I will say,
this
this
is
summer
a
is
good
not normal.
It's,
So
thank goodness.
this is not how the
normal.
board has worked in the past, just to be clear.
But
Major
yeah.
transition period.
But I think these are two really good ideas about design review committee, about communication that have kind of come out of this, so I'm excited about that. So,
Great,
anything else we need to cover on that
Nope.
tonight?
we're good.
So, and everybody else, good?
Everybody will be here for the 25th because YMCA's coming back on the 25th.
As far as I know.
Yes, okay. So then,
Did I share with you all the design plan review bylaw this week?
I think it's in here.
Is it? Okay. I
yeah,
hoped it was, but,
I think we didn't
okay.
obviously focus on it, but
No, but just so you have it to
Yes.
review that if you want,
Yes.
if we're amending it, if you find there's already something, another very small thing you think could be easily amended this fall.
there you go. This is
Very short,
It's an
2
extra copy.
pages.
this is that's the printed copy, yeah, that's about, it may not be in there. Yeah, it's probably in our binders, but not in there.
Yeah,
You get a fancy binder next time.
you
Yeah.
will.
I lead.
All right,
Other
what's
people
on
do.
our,
We email you everything too, so it helps you to not, unless you're like trying to build the biceps, so.
So, are we good? I think we can put planning board task list. We've covered some
the
of
next
those items, I
meeting.
think, yeah, okay. So next item is reports, comprehensive plan, design review committee, community preservation committee, and Metro West Regional Collaborative. Are there reports on any of those items?
what I'll say on the comprehensive plan is what I said earlier, which is that we need a planning board member in addition to me. So the way it's meant to be structured is there's 2 votes on behalf of the planning board, 2 votes on behalf of the select board that are part of the ultimate review of the plan. So although the rest of the board has not been involved in the comprehensive plan, and our new members have not been involved, I think that there is expertise here. And if someone on the board would like to step up, it's not going to be a huge commitment, a few meetings to look at the draft and ultimately vote. And, you know, you can meet with me, you can meet with Kate, you can kind of get up to speed, review the draft. I think that would be appropriate so that we have full, we can say as a planning board that 2 of our members ultimately voted for the draft, and that will help us with the public and with moving this through town meeting. That would be my suggestion and report.
Anna,
for the
you're presenting
comprehensive
that to the Board of Selectmen October 14th?
I don't know today if we can choose someone on the spot to do that. I don't know if we have enough time to make that happen, but yes, it's coming up. But
Yeah.
ultimately, there would need to be some quick move on this.
Yeah.
If there's someone on this board who wants to be a voting member of the comprehensive plan committee,
I think we
Well-
need another joint meeting with the select board,
if that's
To do
what.
what?
because they appointed Kate to appoint another planning board member to the comp
If
plan
there's some
committee.
interest, if somebody here wants to be another vote,
Right.
Yeah, but they can also do, they can
Appoint
do,
on their
they can
own.
do it separately.
we
right?
can vote
Like,
right
yeah,
now for
yeah.
someone,
Perfect.
Yeah,
and
so,
they could vote.
I
Oh,
mean, it was
liaison.
my
Okay.
intention, I've already downloaded all the things, all the drafts of the comprehensive plan, so it was my intention to obviously read the whole thing. As chair, I feel like it's part of the obligation to make sure I do that, to read the whole thing, so, and I have been here the whole time, so I'm happy to do that and fill in that
Okay.
member, but I'm also happy to step back if someone else wants to do it. I will do it, but I don't have to if someone else is enthusiastic about it. You're good?
Okay. I will,
Right, I'm sure. Come on, I knew you're detail-oriented, let's jump.
so what's our next meeting, the
Deepa, are you-
25th?
Yes.
Do you have a,
As long as you're not feeling overwhelmed with what you have already on your plate. I want to make sure that, I know you had lots on your plate. So as long as you're okay with going through that, if you're not,
I am feeling overwhelmed, but this is something that I already, as far as like going through that document, is something I already started doing because I feel I need to,
okay.
so.
Do we want to take a vote once Paul is sworn in and we can all vote next time on the 25th? Will that give us enough time to get you sworn in with the select board?
Well, we only need,
If we vote on the 25th altogether, we can do it now without Paul, or we can get him sworn in and the 25th appoint you. Does that give enough time to get you appointed by the select board? I think the next,
Do you have to get, why do you have to get appointed by the select board?
Just the
I
way it
thought-
works.
I thought we
It's-
had a seat on there. I thought we had 2 voting things.
we voted for me and Kate to be, there was a formal process.
there was a formal process, so it's really just,
It's a formality,
it's
but
a formality.
but it's consistent with the jurisdiction of both boards.
I'm just checking the select board calendar, Anna, to let you know when, after the 25th, when the select board meets again.
And the comprehensive plan committee meets, I believe, next week. So I can get, you should attend. We're not gonna be voting there.
I was gonna say, is there anything that's gonna require me to be a
think there's a-
voting member, before the,
I don't think there's a
Vote.
vote at the next meeting, but I guess there could be.
so that's up to you.
Yeah.
There's a.
I mean, if Paul is not offended, we could appoint you now. So I'll make a motion to, I'll make a motion to appoint Tricia to the comprehensive plan committee.
Second that.
What was it? What is the difference? There are,
And
okay. Roll call vote,
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
and Tricia Kendall, aye. Okay. So-
Would we want to invite the select board again to the 25th? They don't meet again until October 15th.
Sure, they can do it remotely.
They
They
don't-
also,
they
they
don't-
meet September 17th
Yeah, they have to meet.
as well.
Great.
Okay.
So
So September 17th?
Just have them put it on their
Perfect. Okay.
thing, yeah.
And then I'll let the chairs at the comprehensive plan committee know
Okay.
they should tell you the meeting schedule and
And
you
they're
can start
just
attending.
opposite Thursdays.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Great.
All right, and was there anything from Community Preservation Committee that you
Yeah,
wanted to?
we
By the
met.
way, I'm so sorry to disturb. I just realized we didn't have this on the agenda. We just had comprehensive plan as a report. So we may have to do this again.
I don't think,
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Because technically, we had other appointments.
Yeah,
I think we may need to repeat this process on the 25th,
Okay.
because we didn't
I'll
really,
check with council.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's not violate, I mean, I'm just saying that it's a little messy.
no, I understand what
Well,
you're saying.
But if they give us the thumbs up, then it counts.
We practiced.
I'll
but
give
it-
you a
but
thumbs
it-
up if it counts. I'll let,
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, like, if you ask and they say yes, it
yeah,
counts.
if I
then
ask
we can-
council and they say, no, this was fine, then I'll definitely let you know.
I mean, you can ask. I'm just saying, technically, we had on the agenda other appointments.
Yeah, it's true, that's true. You
Yeah,
And
It's just a
also,
little, it's a little hairy.
but also I think,
To be safe, put it on the next agenda and ask town council.
yeah, I was going to say, we can also put my name forward to Select Board, and even though, they can,
They can appoint
They can
until
do
the
it, and then we can
25th.
do it.
there's,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
fine. Do it that way.
It's more of a nomination.
That's
you know,
fine. So
than
we just
not-
nominated you,
Okay,
and we will take a formal vote at the next meeting, so that we don't get accused of violating the law of the state of Massachusetts.
So the Community Preservation Committee met for our first one since the summer. Had a lot of topics to discuss. The forests, I don't know.
Town Forest Committee?
Yeah, Town Forest Committee. They had a couple requests go through front of the board. They're trying to purchase a couple of different plots of land that are around the town forest and also do an assessment on a old road that used to go through there that backs up to people's houses to kind of figure out where exactly the road is and if it's on anybody else's property or if all the stuff is supposed to be on the forest property, so they're doing that. They put those requests through for funds. I think 2 of them are gonna be going to the town. They're coming back next week, and then I think they're coming back when we meet again, and those will be going to the town for the vote. And then the YMCA came and asked about the backfields and getting funding for the back area that they're trying to do. I suggested that they, instead of wait till the spring, that they move now, like, why wait? Like, put it in front of the town. So they're coming back next week also to ask for, I think it's like $1.2 million for, there's fields, there's like a playground area, there's a nature, like classroom type thing, there's connecting some trails with the other trails that are back there. There's a whole lot of cool stuff all in the back of that, which would also have a second benefit of like saying, oh, look, the town has funded this. So when they are fundraising to get the rest of the money, they know that we're already in it. So they're coming back as well. So there was a lot of good conversations, and we're meeting next week also. Normally we don't meet, I guess, twice a month. So
Yeah.
we're doing it now so that we can kind of push forward to make sure people can get in for the fall town meeting.
Oh, great, I appreciate you taking on that role.
Is there like an application process for CPC funds in
Yeah.
Ashland?
Yeah, so it's actually only like 1 page, or like 2 pages maybe, like it's a really short application.
Is there a timeline for in a year, or you can apply anytime?
Once you apply, you have, like, we usually kind of put it, I guess, as kind of 3 years to use the money. So let's say, and just use it as an example, the dog park asked for X amount of money, and they ended up using only 80% of it. Well, that other 20% just stays in the town. It's not like we like cut a check and say, here you go, it's your money, like, have fun. It's more about we allocate the funds and then they get to use them over that period of time. Cause like, I think we did one with, there's a cemetery, I don't know where I am, there's a cemetery across the street, about them like getting some work done there, and we approved, X amount of dollars for it, and then something came up and they're not using it all right away, or some of it, and so it can get returned, or they can use it, or stuff of that nature. So it's not super strict, which is pretty cool, but you do also need like, it has to be on public property, like it can't be a private thing, like, I don't know, Ashland Nail House or something, like, can't ask for, money to put something in front of their building, or, I don't know why I chose that one, but like, whatever, like, Market Basket can't, but.
Like, I know I'm working on a project where the town has October 1st as a deadline for any CPC funds grant, so for the applications, and between October 1st and December 1st, the CPC committee kind of narrows down what projects that they want to fund.
I'm
in
assuming
what
this is for a
categories.
different town?
It's a different town. So I was
Yeah.
curious, like, does
No,
Ashland follow that, or is
so-
it more fluid?
So there's a lot of towns out there that do a really good job of using all their money, actually so good that they have a waiting list, or they get to choose, or they say no to some projects. We're more like, somebody come ask to use this money. And also, like,
Minutes?
speaking of that, there's nobody there representing the affordable housing option. And I was wondering if I could find out, like, who is that committee and where are they?
Which,
There's an affordable housing
yeah,
committee, but they don't have a represent.
it's the Affordable Housing Trust and, Affordable Housing Trust. I think that's,
From my understanding, there's supposed to be people from that on this.
yes.
Because that's one of the buckets that the CPC has, is affordable housing, and we seem to use them for things that aren't necessarily for affordable housing. But it was cool, because we talked about, I can't talk about another project, but questions have come up here about who could use, could you go to the CPC and ask for affordable housing credits, and you can.
Right,
And
right.
we just, so, asked that question.
Yeah, I can't actually remember who's on that committee anymore, but you should be able to look online, otherwise Joe knows, or Jasmine can find out who's on the Affordable Housing Trust. I think, unless there's anything else, I think we just have
Minutes.
a bunch of meeting minutes left. So first one on there is June 26th. Boy, it's going back a ways. I don't know. We got kind of off, I guess.
We just had some edits that had to be corrected on that one.
But they're in there now, is that right? I think it was edits that we had talked about at a
Yes.
meeting. They didn't get
Melissa had
incorporated.
done them and put them in the packet today.
Right, so this is the meeting in June where I recused myself for the first part of the meeting. And Anna, Anna chaired the first part of the meeting. Yep, I think that was one of the changes that's now in
Okay.
there.
Looks good. Oh. Are we good? I'll make a motion to approve the June 26, 2025 minutes.
Second.
And roll call vote,
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
and Tricia Kendall, aye. Next one is for July 10th. Let's see, what did we do at that meeting?
I think that was the
Oh, lots of cell towers.
electricity meeting
Yeah,
and phones.
yeah.
Phone and,
Scenic roads.
yep. Becca was there.
That's right. She
Yep.
was filling in.
Yep, and I left a bit early, which is notated on page 3.
And isn't that the one that, Camilla, he also left early too, right? When you guys went to the,
I don't remember
Comprehensive
that
plan
one.
meeting?
Possibly. No, I think that was, no, that's a later.
I think that's for later.
Yeah, we don't have those yet. That was past July 10th. So are we good with July 10th?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 10th, 2025 minutes.
second,
And a roll call vote.
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
And Tricia Kendall, aye. All right, next ones are July 24th. Those are really expensive. Is this the one where, no?
This is extensive, and I don't remember it being this extensive.
I think the
this is-
one,
Yes, this is the Y one.
Yeah, this is the Y one. Maybe the one where you both left was before this.
Was I there for the whole time? I think I was. Hold on. Yeah, I did leave at 9:51. It's six page. Okay. Yep. For some reason, I don't remember it as well as the other ones, but
yeah, actually, I'm sorry, but July 10th was the meeting that, I think Camila was there at the beginning.
They left early, it was like
And-
7:30 or 7:45
I
or
don't
something.
think so.
Didn't we start it early? Is that the meeting we started early?
Camilla was there on the one where you excuse yourself, the June
Oh.
26th one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
That was where he was, then Anna and both of them left.
then both, oh, right, okay, so then, yeah, that's right.
So he's there on that.
Yeah, so it was there, and then I came in. I think that's what's actually missing on that one, that, yeah, on June 26th, it's just a note where, like, where is the note that, and I think it should be right after the clerk's report. I think that, that Anna and Camilo left the meeting to go to, so that would be, that, yeah, so that's that
That
meeting
sounds
that
accurate.
happened.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm going to make a motion we already voted for the June 26 minutes, but I'll make a motion to
To amend it.
amend the minutes, as Tricia indicated, to indicate
You and Camilo leaving after the clerk's report.
after the clerk's report, which is reflected actually somewhat on page, whatever, the second page, where there's discussion of, on line 56, of the two of us needing to review the recording.
Right,
Yep.
and at the very end, there's only three of
Exactly.
us voting
Exactly.
for adjourn. Okay.
So I've made that motion. Anybody want to second that, the amendment?
Second that.
And now we need a
Roll
vote on
call
that.
vote again,
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
and Tricia Kendall, aye. Okay, so
So now we're
that
back to
was
July
made.
24th.
Now we're at the 24th. And this was where we reopened, I believe. No, the project that, okay. Okay, this is where we're talking about the soccer fields and the granite, or sorry, the soccer fields and the gravel, yep.
I remember this. This was a long meeting, and I had to leave by, I think I left at 10-ish. Yeah, 9:51.
Yeah, and then the
Yep.
YMCA reintroduced. So this is the meeting, actually, that Paul will be watching.
Yep. And you can read those minutes, Paul. So I'll make a motion to approve the July 24th, 2025 minutes.
Second that.
And a roll call vote,
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Scott Pelletier, aye.
and Tricia Kendall, aye.
Just a quick question on
Yep.
that one, not that I want to change anything, but on line 278 to 283, there was conversation about creating a list of 40B projects.
So I'm working on that list.
And the SHI and the housing.
I'm working on that list, so I'll be able to have that for you guys for the 25th. But if you'd like, I can give a brief update of the 40Bs where they are.
But I think there's a
Sure,
spot in
it's on our agenda,
There's
so
a spot on our agenda, yeah, I just,
Yes.
it's
I
on
just
the
saw this and I
agenda.
forgot about it, and I'm like, I hope we didn't, like, you didn't do all that work and we didn't talk about it, is what I was trying to get to, so.
No, I actually created an internal Excel spreadsheet really for the town because there's a lot of, the zoning board of appeals approves a project, there's actually still a lot of moving timelines within the community that if we miss them, we lose safe harbor. So it's very, very critical that once a project is approved, that we still maintain these timelines. So I actually am creating this spreadsheet so that way it links to 3 different people's calendars. So that way, just in case if something happens, you know, God forbid, I decide I'm leaving Ashland tomorrow, somebody else still knows that these deadlines are occurring.
Don't say things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not leaving it. I like it very
Don't
much
send
here,
that
but.
You made it into the paper, you can't quit now.
So that's, but as far as the 40Bs go, we've got 10 to 60 is wrapping up. We anticipate that they'll have their final decision issued by the end of October, first meeting of November. Same exact thing with 61 Waverly. We're finishing up on that. 55 West Union just started. They just had their first opening hearing on Tuesday. So we've got until February until that closes out, and we will be sending 55 West Union for a peer review for architecture design review.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, well,
and
we
our,
can
the
learn from-
traffic consultants are looking at Memorial Drive as a whole, since we've got the YMCA, 30 Memorial Drive, potentially the
Dog
Arbella.
park.
The Arbella, I don't know if you were here, Scott, is another, it's a senior 40B that's approved up the street on Memorial Drive, but it's been in litigation between the owner and the proposed buyer, nothing to do with us. So we approved it, the owner brought it into litigation. A judge was supposed to rule on it in February, we're waiting on that ruling. So during, when it's in litigation, the time stops ticking. So they have 3 years to construct a 40B from approval. When you're in litigation, that time stops. So once they come out of litigation, they essentially have another 3 years to build the Arbella. So that's another one that we've got the traffic experts looking at. So the Arbella, serious apartments that are existing, the dog park, the YMCA, 55 West Union Street, and Dunkin' Donuts. So they're looking at it holistically because that's a lot going on. And in 2027, our MBTA trains are going to double their schedule. So instead of running every hour, they're going to run every half hour, which will also increase traffic. So it's something else we're trying to be cognizant of as we review these projects.
Will it increase traffic or just spread it out?
We don't know.
We're not sure,
Maybe a bit.
Not a lot of
honestly.
people are
We're
using the
hoping it will
Ashland
spread it
MBTA.
out. We're
My wife
actually
doesn't
hoping it will slow down
it's not
the
often enough.
speeding because you'll have another train to catch in another half an hour. So we are hoping that it will reduce traffic, but what other places have seen is usually when you increase the train times, you just increase the traffic, so.
A lot of people will come to Ashland to take the train. I go to
Yes.
West Natick to take the train because it has more stops.
My wife takes it out of Framingham, because it's a lot.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Ashland
really?
has more parking than West Natick and Framingham. My suspicion is more people from Framingham and West Natick are gonna come to Ashland to take the train. As weird as that sounds,
They may.
because it's easier to park.
Or maybe further down may drive towards us, you know,
Exactly,
further west. Okay,
exactly.
thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll have
Okay.
that spreadsheet to share with you guys on the
Fun.
25th.
All right,
So I
August
think-
14th
Yeah, I
minutes.
think we have the last one, this was the one that you
This
guys
was
were
it.
remote and I was
Yeah.
not there.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 14th minutes as is.
Second,
Roll call vote,
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Skip Pelletier, aye.
and Tricia Kendall, aye. Actually, I guess, I think I can vote even though I wasn't there, doesn't matter. Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 9:44.
all right, you're speedy.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Unless
no,
you have
that's-
something else to say?
Wait, let me ask, does anyone have anything else that they want to do before we adjourn the meeting? Or are we good? Enough for one night? Okay. So is there a second on the motion to adjourn?
Second,
And, okay, so that'll be at 9:44 and a roll call vote.
Deepa Venkata.
Anna Tesmanitsky, aye.
Skip Pelletier, aye.
Test it out, Paul. Tricia Kendall, aye. Thank you, everybody.
What do you think of the chair? You're good? You're comfortable?
Chair's